Peerless Douluo, who let him join Shrek. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 Hunting Successful. A terrible price. Unfortunately, even with the use of skills, Xiaoguang cannot catch up with the Snow Demon Wolf King in terms of speed. Seeing that the Snow Demon Wolf King was about to pounce on Jiang Ming, Xiaoguang shouted again. The power of light, the divine light comes to the world. In an instant, an extremely pure light fell from the sky, hitting the Snow Demon just before the Snow Demon Wolf King was about to pounce on Jiang Ming. On the Wolf King. For the Snow Demon Wolf King who exudes evil and darkness, this pure power of light will do great harm to it, not to mention that this power of light also contains a trace of dragon aura. The light flashed away, and the Snow Demon Wolf King was directly hit to the ground. Jiang Ming quickly raised the flying height. This height was obviously no longer safe. On the other side, Lao Nai is still on his way, but the distance is not far. After the Snow Demon Wolf King was shot down, seeing Jiang Ming flying higher and higher, it immediately turned its target to Xiaoguang. The power of light itself is its most annoying power. Coupled with a few attacks just now, the Snow Demon Wolf King has completely hated Xiaoguang. Soon, Xiaoguang and the Snow Demon Wolf King started fighting again. Fighting with all their strength, both sides increased their speed to the extreme. Jiang Ming could only see a black light and a golden light colliding in the air. The soul guide ray in his hand hesitated for a long time, and he did not dare to attack. Period. Their fighting speed is too fast, and it is impossible for the soul ray to hit them. A few minutes later, Lao Nai finally rushed over. Seeing this, Jiang Ming's eyes lit up and he dived directly below. At this time, the Snow Demon Wolf King and Xiaoguang had suffered varying degrees of injuries, with Xiaoguang being more seriously injured. The 50,000-year-old Snow Demon Wolf King is still stronger. Xiaoguang can tie it, which is already very powerful. The moment Jiang Ming swooped down, the Snow Demon Wolf King noticed it very keenly. It showed no sign of fighting and ran directly in the direction of Jiang Ming's dive. After completely turning black, the murderous intention in its heart has become more intense, and similarly, its hatred of Jiang Ming has also become more intense. It can't kill Xiaoguang for a while, but it can kill Jiang Ming, a weakling, as long as it gets close enough to kill him instantly. Jiang Ming, who was diving, looked down. Behind him, the Snow Demon Wolf King was chasing him quickly. Xiaoguang was chasing the Snow Demon Wolf King behind him. In front of him, Old Nai was running towards him, his face full of anxiety. Xiaoming, come here quickly, Nai. Heng looked at Jiang Ming who was being chased by the Snow Demon Wolf King, and almost went crazy with anxiety, but he couldn't get up any faster. This is already his fastest speed. Old Nai, prepare to catch it, Nai. Heng was stunned for a moment, then saw the positions of Jiang Ming and the Snow Demon Wolf King, and immediately understood what Jiang Ming meant. Got it, Nai. Heng nodded and stopped running. Instead, he stood directly on the spot and accumulated strength, with several soul rings on his body shining at the same time. After Jiang Ming saw that Lao Nai understood what he meant, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Next, it's time to gamble, Jiang Ming murmured, with a fierce look in his eyes. He took a look at the distance between himself and the Snow Demon Wolf King, made a rough estimate in his mind, and increased the power of the flying soul guide behind him. A few seconds later, Jiang Ming was only a few dozen meters away from Naheng's position. This distance could be crossed in the blink of an eye. But at this time, the Snow Demon Wolf King flashed with black light, and his speed nearly doubled. Jiang Ming, who was still flying in the air, was instantly stopped by the Snow Demon Wolf King. Its bloody mouth bit Jiang Ming's shoulder directly, almost crushing Jiang Ming's shoulder bone. I'll fuck you, Jiang Ming's handsome face turned ferocious in an instant, and the pain of having his bones broken was extremely uncomfortable. Especially since the Snow Demon Wolf King wanted to use his teeth to tear off the piece of meat he was biting. With that tearing feeling, Jiang Ming felt like his right arm was about to be torn off. The feeling of skin and flesh separation is so clear and the pain is so intense, almost driving away his sanity. But Jiang Ming knows that if his reason is driven away at this time, he will not be far from death. Xiaoguang wants to use the divine light to come to the world again, but the Snow Demon Wolf King has already bitten Jiang Ming. If he hits the Snow Demon Wolf King at this time, the accompanying impact may cause the Snow Demon Wolf King to destroy Jiang Ming's body. Torn apart. The third soul skill, Golden Blood, the second soul skill, Golden Shield, the first soul skill, Heart Shock. Jiang Ming switched his martial spirit in time and raised his physical condition to the highest level. Xiaoming, Lao Nai went crazy when he saw Jiang Ming being bitten by the Snow Demon Wolf King. Martial Soul Avatar. Nai Heng wanted to activate the Martial Soul Avatar again, but he had already activated the Martial Soul Avatar once and now he could not activate it again. Old Nai, catch it. At this time, Jiang Ming's voice came again. Nai Heng looked over with wide eyes. At this time, Jiang Ming's entire shoulder was split in half. If Jiang Ming's body had not been strengthened countless times by the nourishment of the Golden Heart Martial Spirit, and was also under the amplification of the Golden Blood state at this time, the bite of the Snow Demon Wolf King would have killed him in an instant. Bite off the whole arm. At this time, Jiang Ming and the Snow Demon Wolf King were falling rapidly. The flying soul guide behind Jiang Ming, even with the highest power, could not carry the weight of Jiang Ming and the Snow Demon Wolf King. But they are still more than 10 meters away from Naheng's position. Even if Naheng has rushed here with all his strength, the Snow Demon Wolf King can kill Jiang Ming before landing. What to do? Exclamation mark. Jiang Ming didn't know when he took out an arm-long 4th level fixed soul-guided artillery shell. Without hesitation, he activated it and threw it behind his back. At the same time, he quickly took out a level 4 soul shield and held it with his left hand to block it behind him. Boom! An explosion sounded, and the powerful impact of the shell explosion and some fragments hit the shield. The next moment, the kinetic energy attached to the shield brought Jiang Ming and the Snow Demon Wolf King directly in front of Naheng. Roar, Nai. Heng let out a huge roar, and directly pressed the head of the Snow Demon Wolf King with 2 huge palms. Loose your mouth, Nai. Heng's huge palms were placed on the bloody mouth of the Snow Demon Wolf King, and he pried its mouth open bit by bit. His Jiang Ming's painful teeth were trembling, his handsome face was twisted together, and his expression was extremely painful. In the end, under Naheng's powerful power, the Snow Demon Wolf King's teeth were forcibly broken open. Jiang Ming quickly used his left hand to hold down his almost broken right hand. The moment the skin and flesh touched, it could only be described as sour. After holding down his right hand, Jiang Ming released the spirit of the Book of Spirits, and the scarred Xia Guang rushed out of the book again. Xia Guang, help Lao Nai kill it. Jiang Ming said weakly despite the severe pain in his body. Yes, Xia Guang nodded, and a ray of light fell from the sky, straight through the mouth of the Snow Demon Wolf King that was opened by Naheng. Tens of seconds later, a black soul ring emerged from the Snow Demon Wolf King. Seeing this, Jiang Ming finally felt relieved. Hold on, I will take you back for treatment now, Nai. Heng did not care about the black soul ring. He has not reached level 80 yet and cannot absorb this soul ring. As for Jiang Ming, he is so powerful when he goes out. Now even the soul sect cannot absorb a 50,000-year-old soul ring. Old Nai, wait a minute, Jiang Ming called Naheng, his face very pale. I want to absorb this soul ring. Naheng's eyes widened and he said angrily, you are crazy. This is a 50,000-year soul ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 77 Absorbing the Soul Ring, Xiaoan evolves. Naheng felt that Jiang Ming must have been overwhelmed by the pain and actually wanted to absorb this 50,000-year-old soul ring. A 50,000-year soul ring. What is the concept? His 7th soul ring is not even 50,000 years old. Jiang Ming is a soul master, oh, and now he is a soul sect, he can't absorb this kind of soul ring. Old Nai. Am I such an imprudent person? I said this soul ring can be absorbed, but it can be absorbed, Jiang Ming sat on the ground, with a look of pain on his face. The color has softened a bit. In the golden blood state, his body functions will become very powerful, and the regeneration and recovery capabilities of the blood will be greatly improved. But even so, with such an injury that his arm is almost broken, he cannot rely on self-healing to recover. Golden blood is a soul skill that adds attributes, not a healing soul skill. Naheng still couldn't believe it, because it was really impossible. A 50,000-year soul ring. This is no joke. Old Nai. Look, seeing that Naheng still didn't believe it, Jiang Ming could only release the spirit of the Book of Spirits and show him 4 spirit rings, 1 black and 3 purple. Period. Although I had read it before during the battle, Now in order to explain that I can absorb this 50,000-year soul ring, it is necessary to read it again. It's just that switching martial arts will make his state even weaker. Jiang Ming released Xiao Guang and Xiaoan and whispered, most of the energy of the Snow Demon Wolf King's 50,000-year-old soul ring will become Xiaoan's soul ring and evolve for thousands of years. Years of nourishment, the most I can absorb is 10,000 to 20,000 years of energy. With my current level 46 soul power, nothing will happen. Jiang Ming took the spirit of the Book of Spirits. The secret was told to Niheng. Lao Nai was one of his most trusted people and told him that it was okay. This Niheng's pupils trembled. He did not expect that Jiang Ming's martial spirit, which seemed to only have the effect of assisting cultivation, could actually have this ability. Old Nai. If you don't go back and call someone, I will die from the pain here, Jiang Ming urged. Although he was able to rely on his strong physical fitness for a period of time, he almost lost his hand after all. I want to help Xiaoan complete the evolution first. Old Nai, please bring Aunt Lan here quickly. After absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring, I must receive treatment immediately. Don't worry about my safety during this period. Xiao Guang will stay by my side, Jiang Ming urged again. Seeing this, Old Nai no longer hesitated, turned around and ran towards Qingshu City as fast as he could. Watching Lao Nai leave, Jiang Ming finally couldn't help but grin. Fuck you. The far north is not a place to live in. Why did you come out here? You bit me, so you should die now. Jiang Ming moved to the side of the Snow Demon Wolf King, greeting the Snow Demon Wolf King unceremoniously for a minute-long national quintessence. Xiaoan, let's start quickly. Don't delay for too long. If other soul beasts really come over, it will be troublesome. After Jiang Ming finished greetings, he signaled Xiaoan to start taking action directly. And he himself was sitting cross-legged meditating, using a milk bottle to absorb soul power, controlling blood and stabilizing his body's injuries. The two martial spirits, Book of Elf and Golden Heart, cannot be used at the same time, so when Xiaoan absorbs energy, he cannot activate the Golden Heart martial spirit. But fortunately, I can still hold on for a while with my strong physical fitness. After hearing Jiang Ming's order, Xiaoan couldn't wait and came directly to the body of the Snow Demon Wolf King and took a big sip at the Black Soul Ring. Rich black energy surged out from the Snow Demon Wolf King's body and the Black Soul Ring at the same time, and was sucked into Xiaoan's body. Different from when Xiao Guang evolved, Xiaoan experienced some twists and turns when absorbing energy. The dark energy in the Snow Demon Wolf King is not pure. Originally, the Snow Demon Wolf King is a soul beast with dual attributes of darkness and ice, and dark energy accounts for at most half of it. Coupled with the interference of the evil energy of the Snow Demon Wolf King, Xiao needs to be screened and filtered before he can absorb the pure dark energy. Ouch! Suddenly, a deafening wolf howl sounded in Jiang Ming's mind, almost shattering Jiang Ming's spiritual sea. What's going on? Jiang Ming lay on the ground in pain, looking at the black wolf shadow that suddenly appeared in the sea of spirit. He was stunned. This is the soul of the Snow Demon Wolf King. Master, let Xiao Guang enter the sea of spirits and suppress it, Xiao. An anxious voice sounded in Jiang Ming's ears. Jiang Ming's eyes narrowed, as if he had thought of something. The 10,000-year soul beast is an existence that has begun to have a powerful soul. If you want to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring, you must withstand the soul impact of the dead soul beast. Otherwise, it's very easy to get carried away. Xiao Guang, come in quickly and suppress it. Jiang Ming is not a spiritual soul master. His golden heart martial soul can only strengthen the body and does not take into account a mental aspect. So, even if Jiang Ming has been vigorously trained by Mr. Mu during this period and his mental strength has become much stronger, he still cannot withstand the impact of the soul of a 50,000-year-old soul beast. But fortunately, as a part of the martial soul, Xiao Guang can enter the Sea of Spirit and help Jiang Ming deal with the soul of the Snow Demon Wolf King. Master, I'm coming too. Xiao Guang came in soon, but there was another voice. It's Xiao Bing from the Third Soul Ring. With the cultivation of these elves, Xiao Guang, Xiaoan and Xiao Bing have gained spiritual intelligence and are able to talk to Jiang Ming. As for the little spirit in the Fourth Soul Ring, because the cultivation time is too short, it has not yet developed spiritual intelligence. So, Xiaoan outside is trying his best to complete the evolution. In Jiang Ming's spiritual sea, Jiang Ming, Xiao Guang, and Xiao Bing, The three forces work together to resist the soul impact of the Snow Demon Wolf King. Fortunately, the attribute suppression still exists in the soul state, otherwise the three of them may not be able to withstand this wave of soul impact. Time passed little by little, and when Naheng brought Chen Lan over, Xiaoan had successfully completed his evolution. Moreover, Jiang Ming is still absorbing the spirit ring of the Snow Demon Wolf King. At this point, Jiang Ming's second soul ring in the Book of Spirits has also become 10,000 years. The aura of this soul ring has dropped so much. Naheng looked at Jiang Ming, who was absorbing the soul ring, with a trace of surprise in his eyes. The spirit rings produced by the Snow Demon Wolf King before were actual 50,000-year-old spirit rings. But looking at it now, this is at most the aura of a 20,000-year-old soul ring. Xiao Ming really has a way to weaken the energy of the soul ring. Naheng was surprised, but Chen Lan, who came with him, ran directly to Jiang Ming and checked his injuries. The skin and a large area of flesh and blood were necrotic, the shoulder blades were shattered, and the clavicle was broken. How could Xiao Ming be so seriously injured? Chen Lan was shocked when she saw Jiang Ming's injuries call. If this injury continues like this arm will definitely not be saved, and it may even be life-threatening. Chen Lan frowned and was about to release his soul skills to treat Jiang Ming's injuries. But Naheng stopped her. Don't disturb Xiao Ming when he's absorbing the soul ring. He should have almost finished absorbing it, Naheng said in a deep voice. Absorbing a soul ring is a very dangerous thing in itself, especially this 50,000-year soul ring. Once Chen Lan uses soul skills to treat him, it might trigger a riot of soul power in Jiang Ming's body. But if this injury is not treated, Xiao Ming's arm will not be saved. Chen Lan's eyes were full of distress and urgency. She did not want Jiang Ming to suffer such a serious fate from now on. Disability. Believe him, Naheng was also extremely anxious, but it was useless to be anxious at this time. We have to wait until Jiang Ming has absorbed the soul ring. Fortunately, just 2 minutes later, a black soul ring appeared on Jiang Ming's body. 1 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black. Jiang Ming's golden heart martial spirit officially has a 10,000-year soul ring. Including Xiaoan, who has completed his evolution, Jiang Ming now has 3,000-year soul rings. Well, one more than Lao Nai. Opening his eyes, Jiang Ming saw the familiar figures of Naheng and Chen Lan, and he felt relieved. Fortunately, my hand was saved. Old Nai, there may be something strange in the body of this Snow Demon Wolf King. Take it back and check it out, Aunt Lan. Help me. After saying these 2 sentences, after saying that, Jiang Ming fainted immediately. I'm so tired, so tired. End of this chapter. Chapter 78 Soul Bone. Xiao Ming also wants to evolve? Exclamation mark. I don't know how long it took, but Jiang Ming finally regained consciousness. He slowly opened his eyes and found that he had returned to his room in Qingxia City. Familiar bed, familiar furniture, familiar environment, and familiar pain. His Jiang Ming just made a movement to get up, and a strong pain came from the right half of his body wrapped in bandages, which almost made him lose consciousness again. After struggling for a while, Jiang Ming gave up the idea of getting up, and lay on the bed obediently, staring at the ceiling, thinking about nothing, just letting himself go. More than 10 minutes later, the door to the room was opened. Jiang Ming turned around and saw a beautiful woman about 40 years old who still had charm. Are you awake? When the beautiful woman saw that Jiang Ming was awake, her face suddenly showed joy. She walked quickly to Jiang Ming's side, her soul power probed into Jiang Ming's injured shoulder, and examined it carefully. Aunt Lan, I'm fine. Jiang Ming endured the pain and said with a smile. Chen Lan ignored it and continued to examine his wound. The green energy was absorbed into the bandage, giving Jiang Ming a cool feeling. A few minutes later, Chen Lan gently put down Jiang Ming's hand and took back his martial spirit. The wound is recovering well, but it still needs to rest for 2 months. During this period, you must not do anything and stay at home, you know, Chen Lan said softly, a pair of autumn-like eyes full of warning. I know, thank you Aunt Lan. Jiang Ming smiled. After experiencing such a dangerous battle, he had decided to take a good rest. I originally came home for the holidays to rest, but this happened to me. The harvest is quite big, but it is also really dangerous. If he had not adjusted his position in time and allowed the Snow Demon Wolf King to bite his shoulder instead of his head, the genius of this generation would probably have come to an end. Thank you. I'll thank you if you take less risks, Aunt Lan. Chen Lan couldn't help rolling her eyes, then stood up and said, "You should be able to go to the ground now. I have to go treat those injured soldiers, so I won't accompany you." Jiang Ming nodded and said, "Well, Aunt Lan, go ahead." After Chen Lan left, Jiang Ming supported his body with his left hand, reluctantly sat up, then lifted the quilt and was about to get off the ground. He is not a person who likes to lie in bed. After putting on his shoes with one hand, Jiang Ming walked out of the room. The main palace of Qingshu City does not look luxurious. After all, this is a fringe city. Both in terms of population and economy, it is not as good as the big cities in the interior. And Lao Nai is not willing to spend money on decorating the city lord's mansion. There are not even a few servants in the entire city lord's mansion. Walking on the streets of Qingshu City, Jiang Ming looked left and right, with a joyful smile on his face. Although Qingshu City is not as prosperous as Shrek City, this is the place where he has lived for more than 10 years after all, and the familiar feeling makes him feel very close. Of course, the young city lord sounds more friendly. Walking around, Jiang Ming came to a place called the Military Medical Center. This is a medical clinic built by Naheng with funds from the city lord's palace, and it is specially used for military purposes. When there are no wounded in the army, ordinary people can also come here for medical treatment. Once there is a tide of beasts or enemy troops attack, this is a field hospital. The healing soul master headed by Chen Lan can provide the best treatment in the shortest time. Jiang Ming did not go in. People were coming and going inside. If he went in, it would be easy for others to get in the way of medical treatment. Listening to the wailing inside, Jiang Ming felt a little heavy. In the past 10 years, he has heard too many wailings in this medical center. The painful wailings of those soldiers who were injured or even disabled while protecting Qingshu City left a deep impression on Jiang Ming's heart. It left a deep mark. The reason for all this, to put it bluntly, is lack of strength. Qingshu City does not have enough reserves of soul guidance devices, so whether it faces enemy troops or soul beasts, it can only resist them with flesh and blood. But in this case, the casualties will inevitably be heavy. After the soul guide production line is completed, Qingshu City must be completely armed. Jiang Ming thought to himself, "Xiaoming, why don't you have a good rest at home?" At some point, Niheng stood behind Jiang Ming, his tall and majestic body like a wall. Jiang Ming turned around and said, "Can't sit still, come out and take a look." Niheng nodded, and then said, "Come here with me." As he said that, Niheng taking Jiang Ming to a restaurant next to the street, Niheng asked for a private room. So mysterious, Jiang Ming was a little surprised. But Niheng pulled down the curtains of the window next to him and took out a box. The box was opened, and inside was a bone shining with black light. "Soul bone," Jiang Ming stared, then seemed to have thought of something, and said in a deep voice, "Is this from the Snow Demon Wolf King?" Niheng nodded and said, "This soul bone was found in the Snow Demon Wolf King's hind leg. There was also an almost rotten corpse. Is it a human soul master?" Here the Snow Demon Wolf. After there was a corpse in the king's body, Jiang Ming immediately guessed that it might be the evil soul master. After all, the Snow Demon Wolf King was in something wrong at that time, and it was obviously an accident. Your mind is so quick. Yes, it is an evil soul master. Preliminary estimate is that it is an evil soul master at the Soul Emperor level. We guess that it may be this evil soul. Something happened to the teacher in the far north, and the body was eaten by the Snow Demon Wolf King, which caused the Snow Demon Wolf King to mutate and start killing other spirit beasts, eventually leading to a beast wave. Niheng said in a deep voice. Possibly. Jiang Ming groaned. At present, this can reasonably explain this wave of beasts. But Jiang Ming also thought of another possibility. Maybe the evil soul master wanted to artificially create a tide of beasts, but he accidentally encountered a powerful soul beast and was directly shot to death. For the evil soul master, blood, dead souls, resentment, these products that appear in the beast tide are great supplements to the evil soul master's practice. Of course, no matter what, the beast tide has ended, the Snow Demon Wolf King has also been killed, and the matter has calmed down. Xiaoming, please absorb this soul bone. Niheng pushed the soul bone in front of Jiang Ming and said in a deep voice. Huh? Jiang Ming was stunned for a moment, then shook his head. Old Nai, you should absorb this soul bone. Your speed itself is a shortcoming. With this soul bone, your speed will definitely be greatly improved. Jiang Ming really wants Lao Nai to absorb this soul bone. With this soul bone, Among other things, Lao Nai's survivability will definitely be greatly improved. In Qingxia City, which is always facing crises, it is very important for Lao Nai to improve his strength. As for him, he already has a soul ring. It's not good to be too greedy. Nai Heng was very moved when he heard what Jiang Ming said. In the end, under Jiang Ming's serious and tough attitude, Nai Heng decided to absorb the soul bone. After absorbing the soul bone, Nai Heng's soul power broke through to level 75. On the other side, while Nai Heng was absorbing the soul bones, Jiang Ming was planning to sneak out of Qingxia City and head to the far north. On the 10th day after Xiaowen completes the evolution of the 10,000-year soul ring, Xiaobing is also about to evolve. When he first absorbed the soul power of the Snow Demon Wolf King, Xiaowen absorbed the power of darkness, while Xiaobing absorbed the power of ice. So, Xiaobing also came to the moment when the 10,000-year soul ring was evolving. For Jiang Ming, this news can be described as both good and bad. I am happy that I will get another 10,000-year soul ring, but I am worried that Xiaobing's energy of 10,000-year evolution is not easy to find. Jiang Ming asked Xiaobing if Lao Nai's soul power could help it evolve. Xiaobing said no, because Lao Nai's ice attribute power is not strong enough. Old Mu can let Xiaoguang evolve because Old Mu's strength is already at the ceiling level, and the light power in the martial spirit is also very pure. This Old Nai can't compare. However, there is no solution. Xiaobing gave Jiang Ming a way, which is to go to the far north to find ice-attributed treasures of 10,000-year level. This is why Jiang Ming sneaked out of Qingxia City and headed to the far north. End of this chapter. Chapter 79 Under the Glacier, the Ice Silkworm Phantom Crystal. On the outskirts of the far north, after Jiang Ming prepared, he hid behind a layer of ice and waited. There are many ice attribute treasures in the far north, but those things are not something you can just take if you want. Thousands of soul beasts don't talk, and you can't treat others as doesn't exist. Furthermore, the treasures of heaven and earth that can allow Xiaobing to complete his 10,000-year evolution must undoubtedly be of 10,000-year level. As for treasures of this level, it is impossible to find them in the outer reaches of the far north, at least they have to be close to the inner area. But over there are 10,000-year soul beasts everywhere. In his current injured state, if he wants to fight the 10,000-year soul beast in the far north, he is simply looking for death. Although Xiaobing has the ability to sense ice-attributed treasures, he is still very dangerous. Fortunately, a skill obtained by Xiaowen, who had just completed 10,000 years of evolution, allowed Jiang Ming to see the possibility of safely entering the inner reaches of the far north. Darkness lurks. This is a skill that Xiaowen obtained after evolving. The effect is to hide himself and people in a certain area in the darkness, covering his own aura. With Xiaowen's current cultivation level, after the skill is activated, soul beasts below the 50,000-year level cannot detect him. I have to say that this skill is very practical, but it must wait until night. Night is when the power of darkness is most intense. Night fell quickly. Jiang Ming carefully observed the surrounding situation and began to walk towards the depths of the far north. During this period, Xiaowen kept using skills to completely hide Jiang Ming's aura in the surrounding dark environment. Even if there were soul beasts walking around, they would not notice Jiang Ming. After witnessing a snowflake deer walking past in front of him as if there was no one around, Jiang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It seems like there should be no problem. Xiaobing, come on, let's see where there are ice-attributed treasures nearby, Jiang Ming called softly, calling Xiaobing out of the Book of Elves. After the ice blue elf came out, he felt the rich ice attribute atmosphere of the far north, and his face was full of excitement. However, after it came out and sensed it for a few seconds, it shook its head at Jiang Ming. Master, the distance here is too far, I can't sense it, so I have to keep going forward. Jiang Ming nodded and continued to move forward. He is very clear about the situation in the outer reaches of the far north. After he was 6 years old, he has been running around the outer reaches of the far north, and he is very familiar with the nearby soul beast activity areas. Without using soul skills, Jiang Ming just ran forward as fast as his body could. As for the footprints left behind after running over, in the snowy far north, they would not exist for more than half a minute. Master, be careful. There is a very powerful ice attribute aura ahead. As they were approaching the inner reaches of the far north, Xiaobing said suddenly. Jiang Ming quickly stopped and minimized the fluctuations in his aura. With Xiaowen's skills, he completely blended into the surrounding darkness. Half a minute later, the snow beneath Jiang Ming's feet suddenly shook, and an extremely tall and muscular figure slowly came from the front. That was a giant snow bear that was 7 or 8 meters tall. Looking at the size, this giant snow bear has been cultivated for at least 20,000 years. Watching it slowly approaching, Jiang Ming's heart slowly lifted. The perception level between a 10,000-year-old soul beast and a soul beast below 10,000-year-old is not at the same level. If this is discovered, the position he is in will be very dangerous. Fortunately, this giant snow bear was just passing by and left without even looking at Jiang Ming. It wasn't until the giant bear in the snowfield disappeared that Jiang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. He continued to move forward, and when he entered about 700 meters into the far north, Xiao Bing felt the aura of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. In that direction, Jiang Ming's face lit up and he quickly ran in the direction Xiao Bing pointed. The inner reaches of the far north are extremely dangerous, and even if Xiao is there, he cannot stay too long. After all, no one knows which 10,000 or even 100,000-year soul beast in the inner circle will be in a good mood, go out for a walk, and then crush this little calamity to death without any care. Period. Under Xiao Bing's guidance, Jiang Ming ran nearly 10 kilometers and came to an iceberg. You said the treasures of heaven and earth are in this mountain. You don't want me to split this mountain open, do you, Jiang? Ming's eyes widened, a little asked in disbelief. If this is the case, even with Xiao's skills, the movement will definitely attract other soul beasts. And with his current physical condition, it's hard to say whether he can do the work of digging mountains. Master, there is no need to open the mountain, there is a hole over there, Xiao Bing took Jiang Ming to an edge corner of the iceberg and motioned for Jiang Ming to punch him. Jiang Ming subconsciously wanted to wave his right arm, but as soon as he exerted force on his right arm, he felt a sharp pain that made him take a breath of cold air. I'll go. Jiang Ming calmed down for a while and changed his hand. The moment his fist hit the iceberg, Jiang Ming used the power of the inch fist. The next moment, a gap of 1 meter in diameter suddenly appeared on the iceberg in front of Jiang Ming. There is something else going on inside this iceberg. Jiang Ming didn't dare to delay, and went straight into the iceberg, and at the same time, he used broken ice cubes to reblock the hole. It's so cold here. After entering the inside of the iceberg, Jiang Ming felt that the temperature here was obviously several levels lower than outside. If measured in terms of temperature, this would be at least 50 degrees below zero. Right in front, Xiao Bing flew in along the passage, Jiang Ming followed, and soon reached the bottom. Is this under the iceberg, Jiang Ming looked at the extremely magnificent scene in front of him and was suddenly shocked and speechless. The space in front is not large, it is a cave space of more than 100 square meters. In this cave space, countless ice crystals flicker, reflecting the fluorescence emitted by the bed-like black ice in the middle of the cave, making the originally dark cave become extremely bright. Ice silkworm phantom crystal. So many ice silkworm phantom crystals. And this? What is this? The ice attribute aura is so strong. Jiang Ming looked at these things in front of him and suddenly became excited. Ice silkworm phantom crystal is a crystal spit out by a soul beast called ice silkworm. This crystal is a very precious treasure for ice attribute soul masters. The ice silkworms that can produce ice silkworm phantom crystals must have been cultivated for at least 10,000 years. In other words, these ice silkworm phantom crystals must be produced by at least a 10,000-year-old ice silkworm. Thinking of this, Jiang Ming quickly checked everything in the cave and found that there was no trace of the 10,000-year-old ice silkworm here. Master, come quickly, there is a big insect here, Xiao Bing, who flew above Xuan Bing, suddenly called Jiang Ming. Chapter 80, Great Harvest, Greed Harms People. Jiang Ming looked in the direction Xiao Bing pointed and saw a hole the size of a basketball in the big black ice in the center of the cave. And inside the cave, there was a fat insect sleeping soundly. No, to be precise, this should be called ice silkworm. Jiang Ming observed the size of the ice silkworm and made a rough deduction. This is an ice silkworm that is about 15,000 years old. However, the aura of this ice silkworm is constantly improving. When it wakes up, it will probably become a 20,000-year-old soul beast. This big bug must have eaten the ice marrow in Xuan Bing, Xiao Bing said softly. Master, do you want to kill it? At this time, Xiaoan, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke. Jiang Ming turned around and saw that the evolved Xiaoan, like Xiao Guang, had undergone great changes in body shape. At this time, Xiaowen's body was already half a person tall. He was wearing pure black clothes with traces of blood streaks. Behind him, there was a cloak like a dark night, which set off Xiaowen's body. Like a lord in the darkness. Especially the knife in its hand has become extremely sharp at this moment. Just by looking at it, it feels very dazzling and full of murderous intent. Jiang Ming thought for a while and shook his head slightly. There is no benefit in killing this ice silkworm. I was wondering if I could take it away. Spirit beasts like the ice silkworm have extremely strong attack and defense power. In the far north, they have always been regarded as food by other spirit beasts. Even ice attribute soul masters are not willing to hunt ice silkworms for soul rings, because the ice attribute ability of this kind of soul beast itself is not very strong. But Jiang Ming wanted to take it away and keep it. When he saw the ice silkworm, a magical idea came to his mind. Take it away? Yes, master. I can use the accessory location of the Book of Elf to help put it in. Hearing Jiang Ming say that he wanted to take this big bug away, Xiao Bing said immediately. Huh? Can the Book of Elves contain soul beasts? Jiang Ming was stunned and looked at Xiao Bing. Okay, I have a main page in the Book of Elves, and there are 10 subsidiary positions under the main page. Of course I can install it, Xiao Bing nodded. Then why didn't you tell me earlier, master? You didn't even ask, and master, don't you have a soul guide to hold things? Xiao Bing asked rhetorically. That's different. Soul guides can only hold dead things, not living things, Jiang Ming explained. Xiao Bing, try to see if you can bring in this ice silkworm. Jiang Ming held the Book of Elf in his hand and said expectantly. I saw Xiao Bing reaching out and touching the forehead of the ice silkworm in the black ice, and the ice silkworm turned into a stream of light and flew into the Book of Elves. Jiang Ming looked carefully and saw that the first of the 10 small spaces below the page that originally belonged to Xiao Bing appeared like an ice silkworm. Can this be taken in at will? Jiang Ming was overjoyed and continued to ask. Xiao Bing shook his head and said, no, I can only collect creatures that enter voluntarily and have a level lower than mine. If the level is higher than mine and they are unwilling, I have no way to collect them. Come in. Hearing this, Jiang Ming nodded. This is also very good, Xiao Bing. You should quickly absorb this ice attribute energy to complete the evolution. Xiao and I are waiting for you here, said. Jiang Ming directly used the storage. The material soul guide collected the ice silkworm phantom crystals in the cave one by one. Even if you don't use this thing yourself, you can still put it up for auction and it will cost you a lot of money. After hearing Jiang Ming's words, Xiao Bing quickly flew over Xuan Bing. It sat cross-legged on the purple 1,000-year soul ring. Wisps of energy emerged from the Xuan Bing below. Xiao Bing was inhaled into the body. Part of the ice marrow in the black ice was eaten by the ice silkworms, but in such a large black ice, it is impossible for a 10,000-year-old ice silkworm to eat all the ice marrow inside. The remaining ice marrow is enough for Xiao Bing to complete his evolution. Time passed by and Jiang Ming had collected all the ice silkworm phantom crystals in the cave. Only the big black ice under Xiao Bing's feet was left in the cave, glowing brightly. As Xiao Bing's soul ring gradually turned black, the light emitted by this piece of black ice also dimmed. Xiao Bing has completed his evolution. Like Xiao Guang and Xiaowen, Xiao Bing's body shape has also undergone tremendous changes after evolution. The height became half a person's height, and the ice block on his head disappeared, replaced by long ice blue hair. His 2 short legs became slender, and a blue and white patch appeared on his body. Dressed in a dress, he looks like a noble prince in the ice. It's a pity that this noble young master in the ice is only 1 meter tall now. Otherwise, with his good looks, he would be as good as Jiang Ming. Master, I have completed my evolution. Xiao Bing flew around the cave very happily, releasing the joy of his evolution. Congratulations, Jiang Ming smiled, then walked to Xuan Bing, touched his hand, and put it away. Although most of the ice marrow in this piece of black ice has been used by Xiao Bing and Bing silkworm, there is still some remaining in it. Besides, such a large piece of black ice itself is an extremely rare treasure. Naturally can't let it go. Master, I just sense that there are ice-type treasures nearby. Should we go and take a look? Xiao Bing suddenly said. 5 days had passed when Jiang Ming came back. When Naheng and Chen Lan saw Jiang Ming coming back from the far north, the couple were on the verge of tears. 5 days. Jiang Ming, who was seriously injured, disappeared for 5 days. Although Jiang Ming left a letter with crooked handwriting, How could the two of them not be worried? Fortunately, Jiang Ming came back alive. However, when Jiang Ming returned to Qingshu City, he fainted without even saying a word. The moment before he fainted, Jiang Ming swore silently in his heart, "I will never be greedy again." Under Xia Bing's guidance, although he found a lot of treasures in the far north, he almost died there because of greed. Who would have thought that there would be a 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion in an ice cave with black ice grass growing there? If Xia Bing and Xiaoan hadn't completed 10,000 years of evolution, and with Xiao Guang's help, he would have been dead. The combat power of a 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion is absolutely comparable to that of an ordinary 50 or 60,000-year-old soul beast. And the ice jade scorpion is the best in terms of attributes and bloodline. Even Xia Bing cannot suppress the opponent in terms of attributes. After this encounter, he decisively gave up his treasure hunting trip. I don't know how much time passed, but Jiang Ming slowly woke up in bed. What you see is a familiar bed and a familiar room. The difference is that this time, not only did his right arm have a bandage, but also his chest, left arm, legs, and abdomen. Apart from the man's dignity, almost everywhere was covered with bandages. It could be said that he was really covered in bruises. Even if you move a little, you feel like you are going to ascend to heaven. "Xiaoming, are you awake?" Beside the bed, a pretty girl saw Jiang Ming open his eyes and said softly, "Sister Xiaolu, why are you here?" Jiang Ming turned around and saw that it was someone he knew. Xiaolu's mother is friends with Chen Lan. Her mother owns a medical clinic in Qingshu City and enjoys a good reputation. She usually helps her mother in the medical clinic. "It was Aunt Lan who called me to come and keep an eye on you. She said that in order to prevent you from running around again, I must follow you every step of the way." Hearing this, Jiang Ming's lips twitched slightly. Twitched? The way he is now, let alone running around, it would be nice to be able to move. Still being stared at 10 days later, Jiang Ming was covered in bandages, sitting in a wheelchair like a mummy, being fed by Mo Xiaoyu beside him. He does not have the ability to eat independently now. Actually, he can move his hands now, at least his left hand. But at Chen Lan's request, he could not move. "Aunt Lan, I promise I won't run around again, just take off this bandage." After Jiang Ming took a sip of the porridge Xiaoyu fed him, he looked at Chen Lan and said pitifully. Chen Lan smiled and said, "Okay, She said that, with a little finger, all the bandages wrapped around Jiang Ming's body were loosened. Jiang Ming was stunned. He had begged Chen Lan many times in the past 10 days, but he still couldn't take off the bandage. Why was he so talkative today? Nai Heng saw the surprised look on Jiang Ming's face, smiled and said, "Have you forgotten what day it is today?" Jiang Ming frowned and thought carefully. Today is Aunt Lan's birthday? My birthday? Lao Nai's birthday? None of them. Chen Lan smiled and said, "Today is the day for you to return to Shrek Academy." Huh? Jiang Ming immediately realized that today it has been more than 20 days since the holiday. The 1-month vacation is coming to an end. With your current physical condition, it is definitely not possible to go back on your own. I have prepared a luxury carriage for you. You can lie down on the carriage for 5 days and it will be absolutely comfortable. Nai Heng said with a smile. The next day, Jiang Ming got into a luxurious carriage and embarked on the journey back to the academy. End of this chapter. Chapter 81. Laughing up to the sky and going out, the man in the wheelchair returns. Lying on the luxurious carriage, Jiang Ming felt a little emotional in his heart. When he went to Shrek Academy, he took a carriage, and this time he went back by carriage. The last time I took a carriage, in front of Shrek Academy, the carriage was gone and there were only 2 horses left. But this time, the carriage should be fine. After all, he could only lie on the quilt on the carriage and couldn't do anything. Although it's a bit boring, fortunately, Xia Guang, Xiaoan, and Xia Bing have entered his spiritual sea, and he can play mahjong with them in the spiritual sea. That's right, playing mahjong. In mahjong, 4 people form a game. After adding him, there will be 4 in the sea of spirit, just enough to form a game. And another advantage of playing mahjong in the spiritual sea is that you don't have to make mahjong tables and tiles, and you don't have to worry about physical problems. As long as you use the power of your mind to construct it, a completely smooth mahjong table and mahjong tiles will appear in the sea of spirits. The elves are also very savvy. After Jiang Ming explained it, they quickly got started. Then Jiang Ming never won a game. Before the elves got started, Jiang Ming could still fool a few cards through his familiarity with the rules, but after the game, he couldn't fool even once. That's nonsense. Jiang Ming really felt what the novice protection period is. When he first learned it, he did a lot of bad tricks, and was said to be in the protective period of a novice. He didn't believe it at the time, it was obviously strength. But now he believes it. The novice protection period is a really mysterious thing. At least he couldn't compete with this thing with his card-playing skills. The unparalleled 13 Yao of the National Scholar, Master, Dahu, when Xia Guang turned over the cards and revealed the 13 Yao cards, Jiang Ming was silent. Period. The power of this novice protection period is too strong. He didn't have such good luck during his novice protection period. Outside, the two coachmen driving the car looked at Jiang Ming, who had been resting in the carriage. The two looked at each other, with a trace of doubt flashing in their eyes. When they came out, the city lord and his wife gave instructions that the young city lord was not a peaceful master, so they were told to keep an eye on the young city lord and not let him cause trouble. They were frightened at first. After all, this was the young city lord of Qingshu City. If he really wanted to act like a monster, the two soul masters at the soul master level might not be able to hold him back. The coachman who is responsible for taking the young city master to Shrek Academy also said that don't let the young city master study the soul guide in the carriage, as it will blow up the car. The two brothers were frightened to hear this, but the city lord gave him too much. Under the temptation of the gold soul coins, the two brothers took over the task. Along the way, they had made plans to prevent the young city lord from suddenly pretending to be a corpse and getting the soul guide, and they were even ready to make some touching cries and requests. But now it seems that the young city lord is not that scary. He just lay quietly in the carriage, sleeping with his eyes closed as the carriage moved forward smoothly, but his handsome face showed gnashing of teeth and an annoyed look from time to time, as if he had had some nightmare. 5 days passed quickly, and the 1-month vacation at Shrek Academy came to an end. Hundreds of Shrek students have returned to school, with various expressions on their slightly immature faces. Some people look relaxed, some look sad, and some feel anxious. During this 1-month holiday, no one really takes a rest. The pressure for promotion and assessment is too great, especially for the top students in each class, who bear the expectations of the whole class. However, cultivation is not always a matter of one's will. Some people have made major breakthroughs during the 1-month holiday, while others have stayed put during the 1-month holiday. Each has his own chance. At the entrance of Shrek Academy, Ling Luchen and Dai Yuhang, who had returned 2 days earlier, were standing here, seemingly waiting for someone. "Who are you waiting for here, Dai?" Yao Heng glanced at Ling Luchen beside him and asked softly. "Wait for Jiang Ming." Ling Luchen's voice is very cold. Due to her personality, except for a few people who show a gentle state, she is cold to others. Treated like an ice princess. Dai Yao Heng didn't care much about Ling Luchen's cold tone. After being in the same class for a year, he already knew the name of Ling Luchen's cold goddess. "What are you waiting for him for?" Suddenly, Ling Luchen asked. Dai Yao Heng was stunned for a moment, then turned his head and looked into the distance. "I want to see what he becomes like after this month. With his ability, there will definitely be a breakthrough this month. I want to see the gap between me and him for the first time," Dai Yao Heng said bluntly. He no longer wants to compete with Jiang Ming. That guy is not a normal person. As the eldest son of Duke White Tiger, he is already an absolute genius among his peers. But there is no comparison in front of Jiang Ming. During the freshman assessment, Jiang Ming didn't even use the second martial spirit. The last time he saw Jiang Ming practicing, his second martial soul already had 4 soul rings. Although the configuration of 3 purple and 1 yellow is very strange, there is no doubt that the combat power of the second martial spirit is obviously stronger than the martial spirit he showed. More importantly, when this guy challenged so many seniors from the outer courtyard, this martial spirit was still useless. Only relying on the number 1 martial spirit and soul guide, the entire outer courtyard was overturned. At that moment, Dai Yuheng knew that the gap between genius and genius was wider than the gap between man and pig. Compared? What a fart. He wants to have a good relationship with Jiang Ming now. After all, with Jiang Ming's talent, he will definitely be the top powerhouse in the mainland in the future. It's a bit realistic, but this is indeed the truest thought in Dai Yuheng's heart. The gap. Ling Luchen's cold eyes sank slightly when he heard Dai Yuheng's words. Yes, it has been less than a year since the freshman assessment team was formed. Not to mention Dai Yuhang, the entire first grade and the entire outer courtyard were already trembling under Jiang Ming's brilliant record. That gap is already so despairing that it's hard to track down and hard to understand. Half an hour later, Chen Zifeng and Zixi also ran to the entrance of the college to wait. Guangyangmo and Yao Haoxun, who just came back from outside, saw this and thought it was okay, so they waited together. The relationship between them and Jiang Ming is pretty good. Although Guangyangmo is not on the same class, he quite recognizes and admires Jiang Ming's strength. You know, Jiang Ming is now the big devil in the entire outer courtyard. This makes the seniors in the outer courtyard no longer dare to look down on any first-year juniors, for fear that someone as defiant as Jiang Ming will pop up at any time. The 6 of them were waiting at the entrance of the college. Today is the last day. Jiang Ming will definitely come back before sunset. Sure enough, before sunset, Jiang Ming came back. It's just that the gesture of coming back was to hit the 6 people who had already been prepared to be hit in another way. Originally, they were all thinking about how powerful Jiang Ming had become after this holiday, and they were not ready to be attacked. But what appeared in front of them was Jiang Ming in a wheelchair. Jiang Ming, who walked out of the college with great enthusiasm before the holiday, came back in a wheelchair. This was really beyond the expectations of the 6 people. Jiang Ming, who was sitting in a wheelchair, saw the 6 people at the entrance of the college and greeted them with a smile. He couldn't even lift his hands and his injuries were not healed yet. You are all back. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. The same holiday, but the difference is so huge. What's going on with you? Guangyangmo stepped forward and looked at Jiang Ming, who was sitting in a wheelchair, with a somewhat girly face. Full of curiosity. The vacation only lasts for a month. How can I put myself in a wheelchair? Well, it's a long story. Let's talk about it later. Can any of you do me a favor and push the wheelchair for me? I'm embarrassed to let the seniors behind me push it. Jiang Ming looked at the 6 people and blinked. The 2 coachmen who brought him here could only leave him and his wheelchair in Shrek City. They couldn't enter the academy. The senior who is responsible for registering the new students at the door helped him push the wheelchair. Period. It's okay, big devil, I'll leave first. The senior behind the wheelchair smiled, handed the wheelchair to Ling Luchen who came over, and then turned back to give it to the new student registered. Thank you. Jiang Ming turned around and thanked him. Ling Luchen pushed the wheelchair and frowned slightly as she looked at the bandages exposed on Jiang Ming's back and shoulders. This injury does not look like a minor injury. Great Demon King, what did you do? With your strength, to be able to hurt you like this, the opponent must be at least a Soul Emperor level powerhouse, Mr. Yang Mo is obviously very curious. Jiang Ming was a famous figure in Shrek Academy. This was the first time for them to see Jiang Ming in such a miserable state. A Soul Emperor level powerhouse is about the same. When I went back, I encountered a beast titan killed a 50,000-year-old snow demon wolf king, Jiang Ming said softly. The 6 people who heard Jiang Ming's words were all stunned. 50,000-year soul beast, a few people's eyes widened and their jaws almost dropped in shock. Even Ling Luchen, who had always been aloof, and Dai Yuhang, who had already accepted the gap, were dumbfounded at this moment. Damn it, when they went back during the holidays, they would at most seek out soul masters at the Soul King level of the soul sect to improve themselves, but you ended up getting a 50,000-year-old soul beast? Exclamation mark. A 50,000-year soul beast. That's not against a soul master at the Soul Emperor level, that's against a soul saint, or even a soul master at the Soul Douluo level. Be a good boy. Great Demon King, you are a little too outrageous, you are a 50,000-year-old soul beast. You just do what you say. Guangyangmo's effeminate face turned pale with surprise. The great devil's power was so terrifying. Ahem, don't be so surprised. I didn't go to the duel alone. Old Nianai, the lord of Qingshu City, a strong man at the soul saint level, dealt with a 50,000 man together. Nian soul beast, Jiang Ming coughed twice and said slowly. Hearing this, the 6 of them breathed a sigh of relief. The feeling of having a heart attack slowly disappeared. Fortunately, Jiang Ming did not master the 50,000-year soul beast alone, otherwise, their little hearts would really be a little bit unbearable. They can accept the gap, but when the gap is so big, it's really a bit depressing. So, the injuries you sustained were from fighting the 50,000-year-old snow demon wolf king, Ling. Luochun's cold voice sounded from behind. Jiang Ming shook his head and said, "That's not entirely true. The injury on the right shoulder was bitten by the 50,000-year-old snow demon wolf king. At that time, the hand was almost broken. The other injuries on his body were from fighting a 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion, and he had never been beaten before." Jiang Ming's tone was very calm, as if he was just talking about his family's shortcomings. When Ling Luochun heard Jiang Ming's words, especially when he heard the words ice jade scorpion and 30,000 years, he was stunned. "Huh? Why don't you leave?" After Ling Luochun was stunned, the wheelchair stopped moving forward, causing several other people to look over. 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion? You started fighting with a 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion. You entered the inner core circle of the far north. Ling Luochun lost his voice. "Well, I just walked around the inner circle, not the inner circle." Jiang Ming subconsciously wanted to scratch his head, but there was still a wound on his arm, so he gave up idea. "There are treasures in the core circle of the far north," Xiaobing said. But neither Xiaobing nor Jiang Ming dared to go there. In the core circle of the far north, there live the three kings of the far north. Soul beasts with a cultivation level of more than 100,000 years are at least one thing. Go there? That is not seeking wealth and wealth through danger, that is seeking death. Ling Luochun, why are you so surprised? The great demon king has already fought against a 50,000-year-old soul beast, so a 30,000-year-old soul beast is nothing. Guang. Yang Mo was a little curious as to why Ling Luochun's reaction was so big. Ling Luochun glanced at Guang Yang Mo and said in a deep voice, "The ice jade scorpion is the king of the far north. It is one of the very few soul beasts in the entire continent that possesses the ultimate power of ice. The 30,000-year-old ice jade scorpion's combat power is at least comparable to that of the 50 or 60,000-year-old. A spiritual beast with cultivation level. Even a strong man at the Soul Douluo level may be killed if he is not careful." Every time Ling Luochun said something, everyone's reaction was, "My heart felt as if it had been hit hard by a sledgehammer, my brain was buzzing, and it felt unreal." "You are really lucky to be alive after fighting against a spirit beast of this level," Ling Luochun sighed, then continued to push the wheelchair towards the dormitory. On the way, except for Gong Yangmo who was still tirelessly asking about the details of Jiang Ming's vacation, everyone else had serious faces. Although he was accompanied by strong men of the Soul Saint level, fighting against a soul beast with 50,000 years of cultivation and an ice jade scorpion with 30,000 years of cultivation was enough to illustrate Jiang Ming's current strength. At least, they thought it was impossible to survive a single move from these two soul beasts. Soon, the group of people arrived at Shrek Square. Because they had just returned from vacation, there were many people in the square, and because Jiang Ming had been responsible for the entire outer courtyard matter, basically all the students in the outer courtyard knew this big devil. Seeing the big devil sitting in a wheelchair, the students were all talking. In the teaching building, a teacher walked into the office and saw Zhou Yi still preparing lessons, and couldn't help but speak. "Teacher Zhou, the big devil Jiang Ming in your class is back." Zhou Yi didn't even raise her head, still holding the pen and writing something. "He will come back as soon as he comes back. He will naturally come back after the vacation," the teacher continued, "but when I saw him just now, he seemed to be the one sitting in the wheelchair. Looks like he was seriously injured." Zhou Yi's eyes narrowed, he threw away the pen in his hand and rushed out of the office. "Teacher Zhou, they should still be over there in the square now, thank you." On the other side, in the top secret laboratory of the Soul Guidance Department, a soul engineer who had just passed by the square also informed the senior soul instructors about Jiang Ming's serious injury. In an instant, except for the soul master who had some work at hand that could not be stopped, everyone else ran towards the square. Even Vice Dean Jin Duoduo and Fan Yu rushed out directly. Regarding the question of adding more updates, the moon is so round today. Chapter 83 Card Loophole, the big devil is a real monster. In Shrek Square, Jiang Ming, who is in a wheelchair, could not move even an inch. After the battle 2 months ago, it can be said that no one in the entire outer courtyard does not know him. In addition, the holiday had just ended, everyone was strolling around the college, and there were quite a lot of people in the square. When they saw Jiang Ming coming back in a wheelchair, they all looked surprised, and a few of them felt a little relieved. After all, Jiang Ming was too strong when he challenged the outer court. Even if 2 months have passed, Jiang Ming's strong suppression and strong sense of oppression that day are still vivid in his mind. Jiang Ming, Zhou. Yi saw Jiang Ming surrounded by the crowd from a distance. When she really saw Jiang Ming sitting in a wheelchair, she was shocked and instantly thought of Jiang Ming. A series of plots. Get out of my way. Zhou Yi was blocked by the onlookers outside. He became furious and shouted loudly, sending all the onlookers away. Period. The onlookers quickly opened a path to let Zhou Yi in. Teacher Zhou, Jiang Ming saw Zhou Yi and said hello with a smile. Zhou Yi did not respond and ran directly to Jiang Ming, and his soul power directly swam through Jiang Ming's body. How could you be so seriously injured? And with this extremely powerful ice attribute aura, what did you do during this vacation? After the soul power turned around, Zhou Yi could clearly see the injuries on Jiang Ming's body. There were various scars on his body, and every one of them was bone deep. Especially the injury on the shoulder. Judging from the depth, the arm was almost broken. The other scars that are deep enough to show the bones are all accompanied by an extremely strong ice attribute aura. Zhou Yi has never seen such a strong ice attribute aura, even if she is already at the Soul King level, and when facing this breath, I felt extremely cold. This, Jiang Ming thought for a while and formed some words in his mind. But when Jiang Ming saw a circle of students surrounding him, he still didn't say anything. How about Mr. Zhou? Let's go to a place where no one is around first, and then I can explain it to you slowly, Jiang Ming said softly. Zhou Yi frowned and noticed that this was not a place to talk. It's all gone. Have you got nothing to do when you come back from the vacation? Are you sure you can pass the upgrade test? Why don't you go back to practice quickly? Zhou Yi's temper has always been so hot. After he released his martial soul, and under the pressure of the Soul King level of 5 superimposed soul rings, the students fled in all directions. However, the 6 Dai Hang who were also standing next to Jiang Ming also suffered from this pressure. For them who are still in the 3rd ring, it is still very stressful to bear the pressure of the Soul King level. As for Jiang Ming, who was sitting in a wheelchair, there was no reaction at all. Soul King level pressure. He has even withstood the pressure of a 50,000-year-old soul beast. Moreover, his current soul power is only a thin line away from the Soul King, not much different. Although Xiaoan and Xiaobing had injected their evolutionary energy into their soul rings, they did not bring much increase in soul power to Jiang Ming. But when he used the Golden Heart Martial Soul to absorb the Snow Demon Wolf King's soul ring, his soul power also got some improvement. But next, his soul power may become very slow to improve. Because after the 3 elves, Xiao Guang, Xiaoan and Xiaobing, entered his spiritual sea, their training assistance effect was not only to assist in the cultivation of soul power, but also in the cultivation of mental power. In this way, the efficiency of cultivation will definitely be affected, and the cultivation of soul power will definitely slow down, but it will not slow down too much. It is worth mentioning that although the 50,000-year soul ring energy produced by the Snow Demon Wolf King was extracted a lot by Xiaoan and Xiaobing, the effect is still at the 50,000-year level, or even the 50,000-year soul ring. Tamaki's aura fluctuations didn't change either. Jiang Ming thought that this should be a loophole that only he could exploit. The Snow Demon Wolf King was killed by Xiao Guang. According to the judgment, this soul ring can only be absorbed by Jiang Ming. However, Xiaoan itself has a soul ring, so it doesn't need a soul ring, it only needs the energy inside. But energy is one thing, and the age of the soul ring is another. According to the rules, the soul ring has already been generated, and its age will not change due to the decrease in energy. So, Jiang Ming's soul ring is theoretically still a 50,000-year soul ring. Let's go to the classroom. I want to hear what glorious deeds you have this holiday, Zhou Yi led Jiang Ming and his group into class very domineeringly. On the way, Jin Duoduo and Fan Yu came over with a large number of soul mentors. After discussion, Fan Yu stayed and everyone else went back to continue working. In the 1st grade classroom, when Jiang Ming finished talking about his vacation adventure, Zhou Yi and Fan Yu were stunned and dumbfounded. Then there is trigeminal neuralgia in the brain, which is very painful. You boy, you can do all these things even if you take a vacation. The 50,000-year-old Snow Demon Wolf King, the 30,000-year-old Ice Jade Scorpion, you are really lucky if you are not dead. Fan Yu couldn't help but want to pat Jiang Ming's shoulder, but seeing the thick bandage wrapped around his shoulder, she decided not to do it. Although fighting is the best way for a soul master to improve his strength, you are really too deadly. If you are not careful, your body will be completely wiped out. Zhou Yi's face was filled with worry, but very happy. To survive such a high-intensity battle at such a young age, Jiang Ming's future is absolutely immeasurable. Yes, sometimes I feel that I am the son of destiny, and my destiny is very great. Jiang Ming smiled, and did not seem to be afraid of escaping death at all. Destined child? That's all nonsense. Zhou Yi laughed and cursed, then his face changed and asked curiously, when I just explored your body, I found your soul. The power has changed a lot. Tell me, teacher, what level is the soul power? When the others heard Zhou Yi ask this, they also came over with curiosity. Even Fan Yu couldn't help but be curious. Jiang Ming's vacation was so wonderful that he even hurt himself to such an extent, so the harvest must be extremely amazing. That's right. Jiang Ming smiled and did not answer directly. Instead, he released the golden heart martial spirit with a thought. In an instant, 4 soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple and 1 black, rose at Jiang Ming's feet. Especially when the last black soul ring rose, the expressions of everyone present, even Fan Yu, changed. Afterwards, everyone in the classroom released their martial arts spirits. For a time, yellow, purple, and black soul rings complemented each other, and the entire classroom was shrouded in a powerful oppression. 1. 10,000-year soul ring, Gong Mo screamed, his voice sounded very sharp. No, this is not an ordinary 10,000-year soul ring. This soul ring is at least 50,000 years old. Fan Yu is a wise man, because his own 7th soul ring is more than 40,000 years old, nearly 50,000 years old. But judging from the aura emanating from the soul ring, his 7th soul ring is not as powerful as Jiang Ming's black 10,000-year soul ring. 50,000-year soul ring. Zhou Yi's eyes widened, and then she thought of something. You absorbed the soul ring of the 50,000-year-old Snow Demon Wolf King. Jiang Ming had just told them that the 50,000-year-old Snow Demon Wolf King had been killed, but he did not tell them who the soul ring belonged to. They all thought that the soul ring should have been wasted. Unexpectedly, this 50,000-year-old soul ring is actually on Jiang Ming. But how did you absorb the 50,000-year soul ring? This is the 4th soul ring, Dai? Yu Heng couldn't help but ask. At this moment the Taoist heart that was originally relatively stable showed signs of collapse. This is a secret, I can only say it cannot be copied. After hearing Jiang Ming say it was secret and could not be copied, the others immediately gave up the idea of continuing to ask. Although everyone's relationship is okay, we still need to control the relationship. Then what level is your soul power now, Zhou Yi continued to ask. Jiang Ming smiled and said very calmly, not much, just level 49. Yes, he has absorbed the soul ring of the Snow Demon Wolf King, and now, he has reached level 49 soul power. There is nothing to hide. Soul power and soul rings are the easiest for others to see, unless you don't fight, but how can a soul master not fight? After hearing the figure of 49 soul power reported by Jiang Ming, the whole place was silent. No sound could be heard in the classroom. Only Jiang Ming could feel that everyone's heart seemed to stop beating for a moment when he said the 49th level of soul power, and then went crazy uncontrollably. It jumped. That rhythm is like a deer racing in my heart. Level 49. Great Demon King, you are a real monster. After a long time, Gong Moke slowly spoke out, but his voice was full of tremors. End of this chapter. Chapter 84. Can I choose a 10,000-year soul beast? Others also looked at Jiang Ming with complicated eyes, including 2 teachers, Zhou Yi and Fan Yu. Especially Zhou Yi, who had just graduated from the Inner Academy and became a teacher in the Outer Academy. As a result, the first batch of students he met almost caught up with him in their kung fu cultivation within 1 year. What a feeling, it's amazing. And with Jiang Ming's strength, she felt that she should no longer be Jiang Ming's opponent. 49 level Jiang Ming has a top-notch martial soul plus twin martial souls, as well as the bonus of a soul guide. Zhou Yi is still self-aware of her own strength. As a disciple who graduated from the Inner Academy, she had no problem defeating an outside soul emperor with her soul king cultivation. But facing Jiang Ming, even if Jiang Ming is still the soul sect now, she really can't beat him. That 50,000-year-old soul ring alone is outrageous enough. I need silence. Zhou Yi leaned on Fan Yu's arms and sat on a seat next to her, calming down the turbulent emotions in her heart. I also want to be quiet. Just be quiet for a while, I'm tired, really tired. Dai Yuhang, Ling Luchen and others also sat on their seats and fell into isolation. They are both 13 years old, how could the gap be so huge? How about I talk about the upgrade assessment? Jiang Ming saw that everyone looked depressed, and realized that he might have shocked them a little, so he quickly closed it down. Qi Wuhan changed the subject. There is no problem with the overall assessment of the upgrade assessment class. Everyone has improved a lot this year. As for the special assessment, I originally wanted you to take the lead, but you are in this state now, Zhou. Yi said softly, seeing the bandages wrapped around Jiang Ming's body, and shook his head. Zhou. Yi teacher, it doesn't matter. After all, I am also a member of Class 1. Although I am not in Class 1 most of the time, you should give me a place in this promotion assessment. Jiang Ming said sternly. He really didn't have much time in Class 1. When Zhou Yi appointed him as the squad leader of Class 1, he didn't do much. Now the upgrade assessment regarding the number of people eliminated from the class, he still wanted to make some contribution to the first class. But you are like this now. Zhou Yi frowned. She had just seen Jiang Ming's injuries, and it was definitely not something that could be recovered in a short time. His injury is not a problem. I will ask Vice President Jin Duoduo to invite Mr. Zhuang. With Mr. Zhuang here, he should be able to recover before the assessment. Fan. You said softly. Road. Mr. Zhuang takes action. Zhou. Yi was shocked. As a former disciple of the inner courtyard, she knew the strength of Mr. Zhuang. He was a man who possessed the tree of life martial spirit and had reached the level of cultivation. Super Douluo's healing type title Douluo. It is no exaggeration to say that a strong man of this level can make human flesh and white bones live and die. Of course, as one of the elders of Poseidon Pavilion, not just anyone can move him. But it shouldn't be a big problem if Jin Duoduo invites him as the Deputy Dean of the Soul Guidance Department. Of course, Zhou Yi didn't know about Mr. Mu's existence. If Mr. Mu opens his mouth, Mr. Zhuang will definitely take action. The next day, under the treatment of Mr. Zhuang, Jiang Ming's injuries were mostly healed. The hideous wound on his shoulder disappeared immediately. However, when Mr. Zhuang was treating Jiang Ming, he discovered something strange. Too much life energy was used to treat Jiang Ming's injuries. You know, no matter how serious Jiang Ming's injury is, he is still at the soul sect level, but Mr. Zhuang is a healing super Douluo. It stands to reason that with a simple move and a cure, Jiang Ming would be as good as ever. But while treating Jiang Ming, Mr. Zhuang discovered that a large part of his life energy had flowed away, and he didn't know where it went. After realizing something was wrong, Mr. Zhuang stopped in time. After treating Jiang Ming, Mr. Zhuang raised his own questions. Jiang Ming didn't understand what happened at first, but after thinking for a while, he understood. Xiaoling. He directly released the spirit of the Book of Spirits, and saw that the fourth spirit ring to which Xiaoling belonged had grown from 2,000 to 3,000 years old to more than 5,000 years. And the age is still growing rapidly. According to Xiaoling's cultivation speed, the life of this soul ring will reach more than 5,000 years, which will take at least half a year, but now this time is simply omitted. When Mr. Zhuang saw Xiaoling, he asked Jiang Ming. After learning the situation, he fell in love with the screen elf very much. He could feel the pure breath of life in this little guy's body, and his growth was limitless. So, Mr. Zhuang very generously gave Xiaoling a large ball of life energy. This ball of energy is enough for Xiaoling to practice for 10,000 years and complete 10,000 years of evolution. For this, Jiang Ming is naturally very grateful. Although Mr. Mu said that Mr. Zhuang was a very trustworthy person, giving him such a big gift as soon as they met shocked Jiang Ming a little. The shot is a 10,000-year level life energy. This is the heritage of the older generation of powerful people in Shrek Academy. With this ball of life energy, the little spirit should be able to complete 10,000 years of evolution this year. However, it is almost level 50, and the next spirit will come out and start from the 10-year soul ring again. I'm going to force my obsessive-compulsive disorder to death again. Jiang Ming shook his head inside. I finally upgraded my soul ring configuration from 3 purple and 1 yellow to 3 black and 1 purple. The 4 dark soul rings were about to achieve harmony, but it turned out to be level 50 again. It was so uncomfortable. As soon as this idea came up, Jiang Ming himself laughed. It's so Versailles. I'm afraid I'll get beaten if I tell you this. A few days later, the upgrade assessment officially began. The promotion assessment from first grade to second grade is held in the beast fighting area, and the content is to fight the spirit beasts in the beast fighting area. Of course, depending on the soul master's martial soul, those soul masters who are not suitable for fighting will have other assessment content. As soon as he arrived at the beast fighting area, Jiang Ming felt that his spirit was getting excited. The fighting atmosphere here is very strong. In fact, students in grade 4 and above have to come here to take practical classes for training. Almost every day, battles take place here, and the restless atmosphere fills every corner, which also arouses the desire to fight in Jiang Ming's heart. He spent more than half a month lying in bed during the holiday, and he was almost rusty. Preparations for the assessment have begun. First class comes first, do. Wielding sat on the high platform, his voice spread throughout the venue through the amplified soul guide. Jiang Ming heard the sound and walked out directly holding the assessment form in his hand. As Jiang Ming walked into the assessment area, everyone's eyes focused on him. Unlike other students, Jiang Ming, the great demon king of the Outer Academy, is so famous that everyone knows him. There are 2 referees in the assessment venue, who are responsible for handling all emergencies in the venue in a timely manner. What is your major? The referee on the right asked. Let's attack with force, Jiang Ming thought for a while and realized that his fighting style still favors more of force attack. The referee nodded, and then said, the assessment standard for the power attack system is very simple. It is to defeat the selected soul beast. Remember, you only have one chance to assess. Although the referee had heard of Jiang Ming's reputation as the great demon king of the outer court, he still reminded him seriously. Understood, Jiang Ming nodded. The referee continued, okay, choose the spirit beast you want to challenge. The levels are from 100 to 1000 years. In fact, Jiang Ming wants to everyone knows what level of soul beast to choose. As the great demon king of the outer courtyard, he has overturned the existence of the entire outer courtyard, so he must choose the top-tier 1000-year-old soul beast. Can I choose a 10,000-year soul beast? Jiang Ming suddenly asked. Yes, a 1000-year soul beast, right? Wait. What did you say? The referee thought Jiang Ming was talking about choosing a 1000-year soul beast, but after listening carefully, Jiang Ming was talking about a 10,000-year soul beast. I said, can I choose a 10,000-year soul beast? Jiang Ming was afraid that the referee could not hear clearly, so his voice was a little louder, and even the teachers and students in the distance heard his voice. Everyone is confused. 10,000-year soul beast? This is an assessment for promotion to the second grade, not an assessment for inner court disciples. Do you want to challenge a 10,000-year soul beast? Exclamation mark. Do you want me to increase the number of words in each chapter, or do you want me to increase the number of words in each chapter and then add a few more words? Personally, I think chapter 11 is better, and both coupons and chapter cards are more cost-effective. Of course, it mainly depends on what you like. End of this chapter, chapter 85, slap the 1000-year-old soul beast with one slap. Well, the soul beasts prepared for this assessment are only 100 to 1000-year soul beasts, and there are no 10,000-year soul beasts. The referee was stunned for a moment. Then he said slowly, oh, if that's the case, then let's get a 1000-year soul beast. Jiang Ming frowned, with a little disappointment in his tone. I had been in bed and in a wheelchair for so long, and I wanted to fight a 1000-year soul beast to activate the cells in my body, but in the end I only had a 1000-year soul beast. What's so good about the 1000-year soul beast? It's still a 1000-year-old soul beast. Zhou Yi, this big devil in your class is really arrogant. He floated to the sky after defeating some senior students from the outer courtyard, and he also wants to challenge the 10,000-year soul beast. Next door, Mu Jin, the second-class teacher who is Zhou Yi's rival in love, sneered coldly. What is the concept of a 10,000-year soul beast? Even a 5-ring soul king would have difficulty defeating a 10,000-year soul beast. The 10,000-year spirit beast is already considered a very powerful existence among spirit beasts. Even the students of Shrek Academy, not every 5-ring spirit master has the strength to challenge the 10,000-year spirit beast. Humph, you have to take care of it. Are you jealous of my outstanding students, Zhou Yi raised his eyebrows and glared at Mu Jin. Others don't know it, but she knew Jiang Ming's strength yesterday. With level 49 soul power cultivation, coupled with a super powerful soul ring and a top-level martial soul, There is no problem at all in fighting a 10,000-year-old soul beast. Not to mention that before he came back, he had already fought against a 50,000-year soul beast. That was a 50,000-year soul beast, and a 10,000-year sky and an earth. Mu Jin was glared at by Zhou Yi and wanted to fight back, but she glanced at the young students behind her and then at the majestic figures in the field. Jiang Ming finally sighed. There is no way. Jiang Ming is the big devil in the entire outer courtyard, let alone her class. No one in the entire outer courtyard can suppress him. This place, at least until Jiang Ming graduates from the outer college, is impossible for her to get back. You said it, a 1,000-year soul beast is not weak anymore. Okay, are you ready? The referee said angrily. Ready. Jiang Ming nodded, his posture was very relaxed and his tone was very calm. The assessment begins. The referee said while making a gesture towards the distance. As a mechanical sound sounded, the gate opened, and the soul beast locked in the cave rushed out quickly. At this moment, the eyes of all students and teachers were focused on Jiang Ming. As the great demon king of the outer courtyard, countless people are looking forward to his performance in the assessment. Especially the students in classes 1 and 2. Most of them have never fought against soul beasts alone. As Jiang Ming is the first student to be assessed, his performance will affect the morale of other students to a certain extent. Period. The figure that rushed out of the cave was very fast, covering a distance of tens of meters in almost a blink of an eye. Jiang Ming blinked and looked at the speeding figure, a little surprised. This randomly selected soul beast. Why was it selected? The nearly 2-meter-long body has snow-white hair and no flaws. It exudes an ice attribute aura, which is very cold, but its pupils have a dark attribute. 1,000-year-old soul beast, snow demon wolf. Seeing this, the referee teacher frowned. Soul beasts like the snow demon wolf live in the far north. They have both ice and dark attributes, and their attack power is extremely powerful. It is really bad luck to draw such an extremely aggressive soul beast. Zhou Yi and a few others who were watching the battle from a distance became a little weird when they saw that Jiang Ming's assessment target was the Millennium Snow Demon Wolf. What is going on? You said that the big devil didn't bribe the teacher in the beast fighting area? How could he be chosen? Chen Zifen couldn't help but say. Ling Luchen and Dai Yao Hang on the side were the same, and the corners of their mouths couldn't help but twitch. It would be fine if it were another 1,000-year soul beast, but the 1,000-year snow wolf Jiang Ming has a 50,000-year-old snow demon wolf king soul ring on his body. The Millennium Snow Demon Wolf and Jiang Ming fight? How to fight? It's okay if you can't fight a little. The snow demon wolf is very fast. As a group of spirit beasts that live in the far north, it would be difficult for wolf spirit beasts to survive in the far north if they did not have speed. In the blink of an eye, the snow demon wolf crossed the entire field. Its nearly 2-meter-long body jumped suddenly, a fierce light flashed in its eyes, and its sharp claws and teeth made people shudder. With the speed and strength of the snow demon wolf, if it were to hit it this time, even an ordinary soul lord would lose most of its combat effectiveness. But facing this menacing blow, Jiang Ming only raised his eyes slightly, without even releasing his martial spirit. What is he doing? Exclamation mark. The referee teacher frowned and was ready to go. Even if Jiang Ming is the rumored great demon king in the outer courtyard, he will still be seriously injured when facing this attack from the Millennium Snow Demon Wolf without using his martial soul. On the high platform, Du Weilan's eyes narrowed. As the teaching director, he still knows Jiang Ming's strength very well. With Jiang Ming's strength, not to mention this 1,000-year-old soul beast, even a 6,000 or 7,000-year-old soul beast cannot defeat Jiang Ming. But it would be difficult to say without releasing the martial spirit. He raised his hand slightly. If the referee teacher didn't take action in time, he would save others. Seeing Jiang Ming standing there as if he was frightened, the snow demon wolf's eyes became even more fierce. And just when its claws were about to pounce in front of Jiang Ming, the corners of Jiang Ming's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a shallow smile. The next moment, 4 soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple and 1 black, appeared simultaneously on Jiang Ming's body. Before the claws of the snow demon wolf touched Jiang Ming, he suddenly felt an extremely powerful bloodline suppression. That is the same kind of breath. And it is the aura of a snow demon wolf whose cultivation far exceeds it and belongs to the wolf king level. This breath shocked it, and it instinctively wanted to surrender, but it was already too close to Jiang Ming. At such a close distance, the kinetic energy cannot disappear instantly. Its body is still rushing towards Jiang Ming, but the fierce light in its eyes has turned into fear. At this time, Jiang Ming directly stretched out a hand, without using any soul skills, and simply slapped the snow demon wolf on the head. Bang! The powerful palm force hit the snow demon wolf's head, accompanied by the oppressive feeling of the 50,000-year-old snow demon wolf king's soul ring, and instantly knocked the millennium snow demon wolf unconscious at his feet. The snow demon wolf, which was so fierce just now, turned into a puddle of mud and fell limply in front of Jiang Ming, motionless. The referee teacher and Du Weilin, who were already ready to rescue, were stunned almost at the same time when they saw this scene. This knocked down the millennium snow demon wolf with just one slap? Teacher, I should consider it defeated now. Is it over? Chapter 86 moved Jiang Ming away from the outer courtyard quickly. Jiang Ming looked at the referee not far away and said softly, "Well, this is the end." The referee flew over and looked at Jiang Ming, who was unharmed with 4 soul rings flashing on his body, and was extremely shocked. Especially the 10,000-year soul ring on Jiang Ming. Even with his soul emperor-level cultivation, he felt a strong sense of oppression. This big devil is a bit ridiculously strong. The 4th 10,000-year soul ring, and this was definitely not a 10,000-year soul ring, otherwise it would not have given him such a powerful sense of oppression. After confirming that Jiang Ming had not suffered any damage, the referee squatted down and checked the situation of the snow demon wolf. Other than fainting and some incontinence, there were no major problems. However, a slap can knock out a 1,000-year-old soul beast. How powerful is this? Can this stunned snow demon wolf still be used in the future? Will using such force cause a concussion? Will he have dementia? The referee couldn't help but think. Afterwards, the 2 referees in the field looked at Du Weilin and several other judges on the high platform. Snow demon wolf was knocked unconscious. Obviously, Jiang Ming must have passed the test, but the score is a problem. The requirement for the assessment of attack-type soul masters is to defeat the selected soul beast as much as possible. The level of the selected soul beast determines the basic points, and the rest are skill points during the battle. But Jiang Ming released his martial spirit from the beginning to the end, and then gave the snow demon wolf a hard fight. Basic points can definitely be obtained, but when it comes to combat skills, there seems to be no combat skills at all. How do you rate this score, Du? Weilin looked at the judges around him. To be honest, he has never seen such a situation in all his years as a dean. In the past, when freshmen were taking assessments, it was already very good if their legs did not tremble when they encountered a soul beast. There were not many who chose the 1,000-year soul beast. But now, Jiang Ming slapped the millennium snow demon wolf unconscious. First of all, the basic score must be 100%, eh? Judge said. Several other judges also nodded. The snow demon wolf was indeed defeated. There is no doubt about this basic score. But Jiang Ming used brute force and the intimidation of the soul ring to directly knock out the snow demon wolf with a slap. He completely convinced people with his strength, this fighting skill. As soon as these words came out, the judges also got into trouble. Jiang Ming knocked down the snow demon wolf with one slap. It can be said that he had no skills, because anyone can do the slap action. But this kind of combat performance is indeed better than combat skills. Looking at the tangled expressions of the judges and teachers, Du Weilin rubbed his eyebrows and said directly, "No need to worry, just calculate the full score. Let him pass." As the dean, he can be described as loving and hating Jiang Ming. The one he loves is Jiang Xianzong, the most powerful genius he has ever seen in his life. What I hate is that the appearance of this boy has had such a huge impact on the college. In the freshman assessment, a 2-person team beat another 3-person team and won the championship just like they did. Later, he directly challenged a group of senior students in the outer courtyard, causing the entire outer courtyard to fall into depression. He even asked a teacher to provide psychological counseling to the students who were hit. Now that the upgrade assessment has given him such a bad problem, it is really tiring. Jiang Ming, the assessment score is 150 points, Du Weilin said in a deep voice. When Jiang Ming heard that he had perfect scores, he nodded and strode back to Class 1. The students in Class 1 immediately gathered around and exclaimed, "Great Demon King, you are so handsome. That was a 1,000-year soul beast. You killed it with just one slap. Great Demon King, why is your 4th soul ring black? Did you hunt and kill a 10,000-year-old soul beast?" Soul beast? Jiang Ming was about to respond when he heard Zhou Yi's stern voice. "What are you guys doing around here? You are going to take the exam soon. Why don't you hurry up and get ready, everyone? Obeyed and dispersed immediately. Zhou Yu continued, I'm telling you, don't imitate Jiang Ming's behavior. He just stood there waiting for the snow demon wolf to pounce. That's because he slapped the snow demon wolf to stun it. His strength? If you dare to imitate him, you won't know how to die. In order to prevent the students from being misled by Jiang Ming's pretentious behavior, Zhou Yu also reminded him in time. Although Jiang Ming fights so easily, Jiang Ming is Jiang Ming. If other students dare to do this when facing the soul beast, the end will probably not be much better. The assessment continues, and the next person in Class 1 is Dai Yu Hang, the acting squad leader. He also chose a 1,000-year soul beast and easily defeated it, earning a high score. Following them were Ling Lujin, Chen Zifeng and others, who also chose the Millennium Soul Beast. Although not everyone can defeat the Millennium Soul Beast, as long as they persist for a period of time and the basic points are there, the final score will not be low. Watching each student in Class 1 passing the examination, Zhou Yu's lips raised involuntarily. On the high platform, Du Weilin was watching the assessment and making scores while also looking at Jiang Ming from time to time. His brows were furrowed, his eyes were heavy, and he had only one thought in his mind. This child is too terrifying and cannot be left in the outer courtyard. When Jiang Ming slapped the snow demon wolf just now, he naturally saw the 4 soul rings on Jiang Ming's body. The 4th soul ring is black 10,000 years. And that was definitely not an ordinary 10,000 years. He compared the auras of the soul rings and found that Jiang Ming's 10,000-year soul ring could almost match his 7th soul ring. This means that Jiang Ming's 10,000-year soul ring is at least 50,000 years old. Although he didn't know how Jiang Ming managed to absorb this level of soul ring in his 4th soul ring. But obviously, Jiang Ming has become stronger. This also means that the pressure from the great demon king of the outer court on the entire outer court will become even heavier. And even after passing this promotion assessment, Jiang Ming is still a 2nd-year student. According to normal procedures, Jiang Ming will have to stay in the outer hospital for at least 4 more years. When he thought of this, Du Weilin's head began to hurt. Jiang Ming just stayed in the outer courtyard for 1 year and so many things happened. If he stayed for another 4 years, he, the dean, would be worried to death. No, we can't let this kid stay in the outer courtyard. Du Weilin thought to himself. One day later, the promotion assessment was over, and Du Weilin walked to Dean Yan Xiao's office. Weilin, sit down, Yan. Xiaos, who was sitting on the office chair, stretched out his hand and said when he saw Du Weilin coming in. Du Weilin sat down, looked at Yan Xiaos, and said, Dean, I am here to discuss something with you. Oh? What is it, Yan? Xiaos said curiously, as the dean of teaching Du Weilin is in charge of the outer courtyard and rarely discusses anything with him. Just, can you move Jiang Ming away from the outer courtyard quickly? The pressure he has brought to the students in the outer courtyard is too great. Can you make an exception and let him enter the inner courtyard? Br. Chapter 87 Yan Xiao's Temptation, Where is the Limit? Exclamation mark. Du Weilin said with a bitter look on his face. With Jiang Ming's strength, it is no exaggeration to say that even the disciples in the inner courtyard may not be as strong as him. A genius of this level has been staying in the outer courtyard. It can be foreseen that in the next 4 or 5 years, he will suppress all the students in the outer courtyard. Although geniuses can inspire each other and inspire fighting spirit. But Jiang Ming obviously does not have this effect. Inspire fighting spirit? It would be nice to just be depressed without being hit. Get excited. When Yan Xiaozi heard what Du Weilin was talking about, he was stunned for a moment. What's wrong with Jiang Ming? Although he is extremely talented, he is still not up to the standard of a disciple in the inner courtyard, right? He went to see Jiang Ming during the freshman assessment. The strength is indeed good, but if you want to make an exception and directly enter the inner courtyard, it is still not close. Did it meet the standards of inner court disciples? Du Weilin didn't know what to say. He looked at Yan Xiaos and said in a deep voice, Dean, you'd better go and look at Jiang Ming, he's back at the 4th level this time. His 4th soul ring is still at the 50,000-year level. When did the threshold for our inner court at Shrek Academy become so high? What? Yan Xiaos frowned, stood up from his seat, and looked at Du Weilin. He has 4 rings. Du Weilin nodded and said, it's not just 4 rings, the 4th soul ring is about 50,000 years old. Yan Xiao's frown deepened, with suspicion in his eyes. Weilin, are you sure what you said is true? 50,000-year soul ring? 4th soul ring. How is this possible, Du? Wielding took a deep breath and continued, I don't know this, but it is the truth. Seeing the serious look on Du Wielding's face, Yan Xiaos didn't say much, just say the next sentence and walk out of the office. I'll go take a look. Du Wielding quickly chased after him and shouted, Dean, let him enter the inner courtyard quickly. The outer courtyard cannot afford this great god. Wait until I come back, Yan Xiaos's voice came from afar. After Du Wielding heard this, he could only return to the outer courtyard. As the dean of students, he has a lot to deal with. Outer courtyard, 2nd grade class 1. After passing the promotion assessment, all members of the 1st grade class were promoted to 2nd grade students, and no one was eliminated. However, after being promoted to 2nd grade, Jiang Ming still had no time to attend classes in the classroom. The research in the Soul Guidance Department has officially entered the stage of overcoming difficulties. There are still a little more than 2 years left, and the Soul Guidance device production line plan must be rushed. As for Jiang Ming, the newly promoted 5th level Soul Master, he needs to get involved with a group of 6th level and above Soul Masters. No, just a few days after the upgrade assessment, Jiang Ming was in the top secret laboratory again. Speaking of which, Xiaos came here directly after not finding Jiang Ming in the teaching building. Hey, old Yan, why do you have time to come to my Soul Guidance Department? As soon as Yan Xiaos came over, Jin Duoduo, who had been with him for decades, fell in love and killed him. The dean came over. I'm not here to find you. Where is Jiang Ming? Yan Xiaos asked in a deep voice. Xiaoming? Well, it's right there, Jin Duoduo raised his chin and pointed at Jiang Ming, who was studying the drawings not far away. Because he had accumulated some experience before the holiday, Jiang Ming was no longer so dazzled when he looked at the drawings. Of course, he still couldn't understand the drawings of the 7th and 8th level soul guides. After seeing Jiang Ming, Yan Xiaos did not talk nonsense with Jin Duo, but came directly to Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming, hearing the sound, Jiang Ming raised his head and saw that it was Yan Xiaos. He blinked and then quickly stood up straight. Hello, Dean. Yan Xiaos smiled and said, you don't have to be so formal. You are also the teacher's disciple. You are my junior brother by seniority. Jiang Ming nodded, but still maintained a respectful attitude. Although it was true in terms of seniority, Yan Xiaos was the dean of the martial arts department after all, so it was impossible for him to really act casually. Come out with me first, Yan Xiaos said softly, then grabbed Jiang Ming's shoulder with one hand and jumped up. In less than a minute, Jiang Ming arrived in Yan Xiaos's office. Not much else to say. Your dean of students, Du Wielding, said he wants to make an exception and let you enter the inner courtyard. What do you think? Yan Xiaos went directly to the topic. Huh? Inner courtyard, Jiang Ming blinked, somewhat unresponsive. Yes, inner court. He said that if you continue to stay in the outer court, it will destroy the confidence of the students in the outer court. He wants you to enter the inner court now. Are you willing? Yan Xiaos said softly. This is fine, Jiang Ming thought for a second and said softly. Anyway, Yan Xiaos frowned and asked in a deep voice, do you know what it means to enter the inner courtyard? Jiang Ming shook his head and said, I don't know, but even if I enter the inner courtyard, I still have to continue research in the Soul Guidance Department. After all, I proposed that project. So, there is not much difference between the inner courtyard and the outer courtyard. Hearing this, Yan Xiaos was stunned for a moment and then reacted. Indeed, Jiang Ming's existence is very special. Even if he enters the inner courtyard, he will still have to participate in the Soul Guidance System's plan. Thinking of this, Yan Xiaos could somewhat understand Du Wielding's thoughts. Compared to other students, Jiang Ming is indeed a bit too special. Well, in that case, I think it would be better for you to enter the inner courtyard, Yan Xiaos said softly. However, the inner court of our Shrek Academy has thresholds and requirements, but I heard Du Wielding say that you already have the strength to enter the inner court. Let me see. Yan Xiaos suddenly took action and slapped Jiang Ming with his palm. As a super Douluo, the power of Yan Xiaos's palm has reached the Soul King level. Even ordinary Soul Kings cannot catch this palm. Jiang Ming frowned, and 4 soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black, rose from his feet. He then made a fist with one hand and faced Yan Xiaos's palm. Bang! A terrifying wave of air surged through the office, causing Yan Xiaos and Jiang Ming's hair to fly. What a boy! Yan Xiaos's eyes lit up, And then the palm force in his hand began to increase. He wanted to see how much power his little junior brother could withstand. The next moment, the power in Yan Xiao's palm suddenly increased a lot. Soul Emperor level. Jiang Ming's eyes condensed, and he mobilized all his strength to pour into his fists, and his momentum also increased greatly. He is on par with Yan Xiao's. Duilin is right. You do have the strength to enter the inner courtyard. However, as your senior brother, I still want to see where your limits are, said. A golden light flashed in Yan Xiao's eyes, and the power in his palm increased again. Soul Saint level. This level of palm power is a bit scary. Even if Jiang Ming mobilizes his whole body's energy and blood, it is a bit difficult to resist. Originally, that was enough, but Jiang Ming was also annoyed by Yan Xiao's inexplicable test, and he didn't intend to give in just yet. Moreover, he also wants to know where his limit is after gaining so much during the holiday. The next moment, the third soul ring on Jiang Ming's body shone brightly, and the energy and blood in his body once again increased to a new level. Today is Saturday, extra update, so tired, please vote and subscribe. Chapter 88 Conversation with Yan Xiao's and Becoming an Inner Court Disciple. In the golden blood state, Jiang Ming's blood and energy increased significantly, almost reaching the Soul Saint level. In terms of physical strength, Jiang Ming is now stronger than any Soul Saint who has not activated his true form of martial spirit. Yan Xiao's was completely shocked. He had already raised the soul power in his palm to the Soul Saint level, but Jiang Ming was still able to block it, and even had a faint tendency to counterattack. This is incredible. Even he, the well-informed dean of Shrek Academy, has never seen a four-ringed person who could do this. Come again. At this moment, under the pressure of powerful soul power, the fighting will in Jiang Ming's heart has been completely aroused. Even with the pressure of the Soul Saint level in Yan Xiao's palm, he still has the desire to fight. Looking at the burning fighting spirit in Jiang Ming's eyes, Yan Xiao's eyes narrowed. The soul power in his palm was about to be strengthened again, but after thinking about it, he still put it away. No need, you have the qualifications to enter the inner courtyard. Alice, my knowledge is shallow. Yan Xiao sighed softly and reached out to touch Jiang Ming, who was leaning forward because of his sudden withdrawal of his palms. Junior brother, I estimate that in less than 20 years, your strength will surpass mine. Yan Xiao patted Jiang Ming on the shoulder, with a complicated look in his eyes. You know, it took him more than 80 years to reach his current level of cultivation. And this is because his martial spirit is the top-level beast martial spirit, the bright phoenix, and his cultivation speed is very fast. But now, Jiang Ming is only 13 years old, and Yan Xiao can already see that he can surpass himself in 20 years. This. Not to mention the group of little guys in the outer courtyard, even the dean himself was hit. Jiang Ming is definitely Shrek's top genius in not just 1,000 years but 5,000 years. Yan Xiao thought to himself. The last person who was hailed as the most talented person in Shrek's history for thousands of years was his and Jiang Ming's teacher, Dragon God Douluo Moon. Seeing Yan Xiao stop his hand, Jiang Ming withdrew his fist in disappointment. He actually wanted to use Yan Xiao's power to see where his current limit was. Unfortunately, he stopped before he reached the limit. However, it was almost the same just now. He has already used the golden blood, which is almost the strongest state he can improve in his normal state. Hearing Yan Xiao's sigh, Jiang Ming took back his martial spirit and said with a smile, Brother, you don't have to be so melancholy. Talented people have emerged from generation to generation, and each has led the way for hundreds of years. Yan Xiao was stunned for a moment, and then he laughed, and his originally depressed mood suddenly felt relieved. Stand up. There are talented people from generation to generation, each leading the way for hundreds of years, and another leading the way for hundreds of years. Jiang Ming, your cultivation talent is the only one I have seen in my life. As long as nothing happens, you will be able to stand at the top of the continent sooner or later. Yan Xiao gave a very high evaluation. Even though he, as the dean of Shrek Academy, knew that geniuses who had not grown up were bullshit, he still couldn't help but say so. Brother Liao Zhan, I am only in the 4th ring now. It is too early to reach the top of the mainland. Jiang Ming did not let Yan Xiao's words affect his mood. He reached the top of the mainland. I haven't thought about it yet, just take it step by step. Go wherever you can. Yan Xiao nodded and said, Indeed, it's a little early to say this now, but senior brother looks forward to the day when you reach the top. After saying that, Yan Xiaos didn't say anything more, but used the sound-transmitting soul guide on the side. Called someone. Soon, Jiang Ming's inner court disciples' clothing, identity certificates, and other items were all processed. Yan Xiaos, the dean, personally said that the process for Jiang Ming to enter the inner courtyard was ridiculously fast. Here, that's your inner court disciple uniform, and some inner court disciple logos. Take it, and you will be an inner court disciple of Shrek Academy from now on. Yan Xiaos pointed to the things placed on the coffee table and said softly. Is it that simple? Jiang Ming was a little surprised. During the previous class, he learned some of the procedures for becoming an inner courtyard disciple from Zhou Yi's mouth. It can be said to be very complicated. Various assessments and reviews are quite strict. Of course, it's not that simple. The inner court disciples are the real geniuses of Shrek Academy. Every inner court disciple bears a lot of responsibilities, but since your situation is too special, that's all you have for now, and we'll talk about the rest of the process and procedures later. Yan Xiaos explained. Oh, by the way, although the plan for the Soul Guide production line you proposed is very important, as a senior brother I want to remind you that the martial soul is fundamental. Soul power cultivation is always the most important core of a soul master. Don't put the cart before the horse. Yan Xiaos said with a serious face. Jiang Ming's talent is terrifying, but if he spends most of his time on the Soul Guide, no matter how strong his talent is, it will as time goes by, everyone disappears. The training of a soul master will always become more difficult as you grow up. Yes, I know this in my heart, Jiang Ming nodded in response. He walked to the coffee table and put everything away, looked at Yan Xiaos, and asked, Senior brother, is there anything else you can do? Yan Xiaos waved his hand and said, It's okay, you can leave by yourself. By the way, this is Poseidon Island. If you want to go back to the outer courtyard, use the Flying Soul Guide to go back. When Jiang Ming heard this, his eyes widened. No, senior brother, you brought me here, aren't you responsible for taking me back? Yan Xiaos smiled and said, Your senior brother, I am the dean of Shrek Academy, and I have everything to deal with. Don't you have a Flying Soul Guide yourself? Okay, go back quickly, otherwise that old bastard Jin Duoduo will probably come to me. Here we come. Hearing this, Jiang Ming reluctantly walked out of Yan Xiaos's office. After closing the door, Jiang Ming raised two middle fingers at the door to show his contempt for Yan Xiaos. What are you doing? Suddenly, a slightly childish, yet somewhat mature voice sounded next to Jiang Ming's ears. The sound was so close that Jiang Ming, who had just fought with Yan Xiaos and had aroused fighting spirit, subconsciously turned around. He reached back with one hand, grabbed the arm of the person behind him, made a big circle with his feet on the ground, grabbed the person's hand, and pressed his elbow directly against the person on the back. The movements were done in one go and so fast that the captured person did not even react. What are you doing? Let me go. There was a loud shout, and Jiang Ming realized that he seemed to be a little overstressed. He was about to let go of the red-haired girl's snow-white arms in front of him when he saw 3 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, rising from the feet of the little girl in front of him, and an extremely hot breath came from her body. It exploded, and the hot breath spread to the surroundings, raising the surrounding temperature a few points. Sitting in the office, Yan Xiaos felt the hot breath. He was stunned for a moment, then quickly opened the door, only to see if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Is this a nod to me? At the door of Yan Xiaos's office, Jiang Ming was entangled with an unknown red-haired girl. Because his fighting spirit was aroused just now, after hearing a sudden voice in his ear, he subconsciously used fighting skills to control the people behind him. But after grabbing the person, he realized that his stress reaction was too strong. He originally wanted to let go of the girl, but before he could let go, the girl released her martial spirit and attacked Jiang Ming. The red-haired girl's martial spirit was very powerful. It seemed to be a very powerful fire attribute martial spirit. Jiang Ming's current physical condition felt that he couldn't handle the hot aura. However, the soul power of this red-haired girl does not seem to be a simple fire attribute soul power. In her soul power, Jiang Ming felt a trace of evil. After realizing this, Jiang Ming frowned, and was about to completely subdue the red-haired girl. But the red-haired girl struggled fiercely. After releasing the hot fire attribute soul power, she turned over directly and relied on the flexibility of the female body to break away from Jiang Ming's hand on her back elbow. Not only that, the red-haired girl did not take the opportunity to leave after turning over, but directly punched Jiang Ming in the face. Jiang Ming was about to capture her at this time, and he was leaning forward when he saw the red-haired girl punching him, and directly grabbed the opponent's arm with her outstretched palm. The attacks launched by the two were interfered by each other and failed to achieve their goals, but their faces were very close to each other during the attacks. So, when Yan Xiao's opened the door of the office, he saw Jiang Ming and the red-haired girl going up and down. Jiang Ming grabbed the red-haired girl's hand, and their faces were touching the ground with only one punch. The distance, the eyes of both sides are very focused, only each other. Ahem. What is that? You are still young. Pay attention to the impact. The well-informed Yan Xiao's didn't know what he thought of when he saw this scene. He coughed slightly and turned his head slightly. When Jiang Ming heard Yan Xiao's voice, he raised his head and looked forward. But the red-haired girl's eyes lit up, and her long legs went directly to greet Jiang Ming's Xia Sanlu. This made Jiang Ming anxious. Is there a place where football can be played? If the kick hits, even with Jiang Ming's current physical condition, it will be unbearable pain. Without much thought, Jiang Ming clamped his legs together, controlled the extremely vicious long legs, and was about to take action. When Xiao saw this scene, he couldn't care less about his gossip. A powerful force of light directly separated Jiang Ming from the red-haired girl. Seeing that Jiang Ming and the red-haired girl were about to take action again, Yan Xiao quickly stopped him and said, Jiang Ming, Xiao Tao, you two stop. What are you doing? Why did they suddenly start fighting? Obviously, things were not what Yan Xiao imagined. Teacher, this guy was sneaking around at the door of your office. I found him and attacked me, Ma. Xiao Tao pointed at Jiang Ming, her bright eyes full of anger. Since when have I been so sneaky? When Jiang Ming heard Ma Xiao Tao calling Yan Xiao, he immediately knew that he had thought wrong. How could the dean of Shrek Academy accept an evil soul master disciple, and he only felt a trace of evil energy in Ma Xiao Tao? Why aren't you sneaky? Why are you pointing two fingers at the door of the teacher's office? Ma Xiao Tao held out her chest and put her hands on her hips, and said very domineeringly. That's what I am. Jiang Ming hesitated to speak, but was embarrassed to say it. HMPH. You can't tell, right? Teacher, there is definitely something wrong with this guy, Ma. Xiao Tao walked up to Yan Xiao and said aggressively. Yan Xiao smiled bitterly and said, Xiao Tao, Jiang Ming has no problem with him. It's all a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. When Ma Xiao Tao heard what Yan Xiao said, he frowned and said in a deep voice, but he did attack me first. It was my body's instinctive reaction. You were so close to me and suddenly spoke. I took action subconsciously, Jiang Ming explained. Is this the reason why you attacked me? Ma Xiao Tao's eyes widened and she said a little arrogantly. Xiao Tao. Yan Xiao listened to the conversation between the two little guys. One was the first and the other was the elder. What the hell is this? Okay, stop arguing, come in and talk. Yan Xiao looked at the two of them and did not intend to solve the problem in the corridor, but called them into the office. In the office, Yan Xiao was sitting on a chair, while Jiang Ming and Ma Xiao Tao were sitting on two single sofas respectively. The smell of gunpowder was strong. I am also aware of the situation. I just practiced with Jiang Ming and stimulated Jiang Ming's body's fighting will, which caused him to have an instinctive reaction in his body to attack you. So, this is an accident. Yan Xiao said softly. Hearing what Yan Xiao said, although Ma Xiao Tao no longer bothered, she still didn't have a good look at Jiang Ming. After all, he was caught by the other party as soon as they met, and it was really difficult to save his face. Jiang Ming also had doubts about Ma Xiao Tao. After thinking about it, he still asked, Brother, is she your disciple? Why is there a trace of evil in her soul power? Hearing this, Yan Xiao's face showed a bit of helplessness. He looked at Jiang Ming and said softly, that's because Xiao Tao's martial spirit is a bit special. Her martial spirit is the evil fire phoenix. Hearing this, Jiang Ming frowned and said subconsciously, is it the evil fire phoenix like Ma Hongjin? In his impression, Ma Hongjin's martial spirit is the evil fire phoenix. Ahem. Jiang Ming, Ma Hongjin's ancestor is the first generation of Shrek's 7 devils, please respect him. Yan Xiao coughed lightly and reminded. Jiang Ming blinked and reacted. I almost forgot that Shrek Academy 10,000 years later had great respect for the Shrek 7 devils of Tang San's generation. Xiao Tao is the descendant of that ancestor. A year ago, Xiao Tao's family sent Xiao Tao to me, and I accepted her as a disciple, but even in Shrek Academy, Xiao Tao could not be cured. The evil fire, Yan Xiao said helplessly. The fire phoenix martial spirit is definitely the top martial spirit among the beast martial spirits, but with the word evil on it, it would be very troublesome. But, I remember that Ma Hongjin's ancestor had a way to vent evil fire when he was practicing. Before Jiang Ming finished speaking, he realized something was wrong and stopped talking. On the other side of the sofa, Ma Xiaotao also looked at Jiang Ming with very dangerous eyes. Looking at it like that, if Jiang Ming said what was behind, she would definitely pounce on him and take action. The method Ma Hongjin's ancestors used to vent evil fire is not suitable for Xiao Tao. Yan Xiao glanced at Jiang Ming, a little surprised. You know, even the library of Shrek Academy does not have any collection of Ma Hongjin's ancestors in this regard. How did Jiang Ming know? Currently, the Academy can only use heavenly materials and earthly treasures to suppress the evil fire in Xiao Tao's body, but this child is very talented in cultivation and very diligent. The evil fire will break out after practicing for a while, which is not a long-term solution. Currently, the Academy is thinking of finding a soul master with a powerful enough ice attribute martial spirit to suppress the evil fire in her body, or it can temporarily use thousand-year black ice to suppress it. But millennium black ice is usually found deep in the far north and is extremely difficult to find. At this point, Yan Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Ma Xiaotao is the most talented genius he has seen in the past 100 years besides Jiang Ming. Unfortunately, the evil fire is difficult to eradicate. When Jiang Ming heard Yan Xiao's words, his expression became a little strange. Is this a nod to me? End of this chapter. Chapter 90. This is Uncle Master's love. For some reason, Jiang Ming felt like Yan Xiao was looking at him. Ice attribute martial spirit. He does not have an ice attribute martial spirit, but there's Xia Bing, an ice attribute elf in the Book of Spirits. And judging from the last battle with the Ice Jade Scorpion, Xia Bing's ice attribute is just a little worse than the Ice Jade Scorpion's ultimate ice. And the Millennium Black Ice at this moment, there is actually a large piece of thousand-year-old black ice in his stored ring. If he hadn't been sure that no one was following him when he obtained the thousand-year black ice, Jiang Ming would have doubted whether Yan Xiao was following him when he returned home. However, looking at the sad look on Yan Xiao's face, Jiang Ming was basically sure that he was not following him. Yes, Yan Xiao is the dean of Shrek Academy. Why are you following him? Okay, Jiang Ming, you should go back quickly. This matter has nothing to do with you. Yan Xiao waved his hand and asked Jiang Ming to leave. Ma Xiaotao's problem has always been a worry for him, but what's the use of telling Jiang Ming about this worry? After all, he is not an ice attribute martial spirit. Hearing this, Jiang Ming did not leave, but looked at Yan Xiao and asked in a deep voice. If she doesn't have an ice attribute martial spirit or a thousand-year black ice to suppress the evil fire, will she become an evil soul master? This is the question Jiang Ming is most concerned about. He has thousands of years of black ice on his body, but what does this have to do with Yan Xiao? He and Yan Xiao are senior brothers, but in fact they are not close to each other. If it weren't for coming here this time, he would even see Yan Xiao calling him dean instead of senior brother. It's hard to say that as Xiao Tao's cultivation level gets higher and higher, the evil fire will become stronger and stronger. If Xiao Tao goes crazy while practicing, Yan Xiao didn't say anything, he just frowned and his eyes were full of worry. Got it, Jiang Ming nodded, turned to look at Ma Xiaotao on the side, and said in a deep voice, come on, call me uncle. Ma Xiaotao was stunned for a moment, then realized what he was doing. Her pretty face was full of reluctance, and she said word by word, no. Yes. It can, Jiang Ming looked at Ma Xiaotao's reaction and smiled slightly. No, he said nothing, but stood up and walked towards the door. As he walked, he pretended to be unintentional and said, forget it. If you don't want to call me uncle, then who should I give the thousand-year black ice in my hand? Yan Xiao originally said with a sad look on his face. He was thinking about ways to suppress Ma Xiaotao's evil fire, but when he heard Jiang Ming say that he had thousand-year black ice in his hand, his eyes suddenly froze. What? You have a thousand-year black ice? Yan Xiao looked at Jiang Ming, who had already walked to the door, and said in shock. Yes, yes, but if someone doesn't want to call me uncle, then I definitely can't give him this greeting gift. Jiang Ming said with a smile, looking at Ma Xiaotao who was standing aside with a corner of his eye. Xiaotao, call me uncle, Yan. Xiaos did not say anything, but appeared beside Ma Xiaotao and urged. Ma Xiaotao looked at the smile on Jiang Ming's face, her mouth closed tightly, her nose wrinkled, her silver teeth clenched together, and she didn't want to call this annoying guy uncle. Hurry up, do you still want to be tortured by evil fire, Yan? Xiaos continued to urge. You must know that treasures such as 1,000-year-old black ice are hard to come by. Even though he traveled to the far north for Ma Xiaotao's evil fire half a year ago, he still couldn't find the 1,000-year black ice. He didn't know where Jiang Ming came from, but that didn't matter. It was just a senior uncle. What's more, in terms of seniority, Ma Xiaotao really wanted to call Jiang Ming his senior uncle. When Ma Xiaotao heard Yan Xiao's words, she remembered the pain of being tortured by evil fire when she was practicing before, and a trace of hesitation flashed across her face. If you don't want to, senior brother, then I'll leave, Jiang Ming saw Ma Xiaotao hesitating, but he opened the office door without hesitation. Uncle. Ma Xiaotao finally said this sentence, uncle. Thinking that she had just said that it was impossible to call Jiang Ming his uncle, Ma Xiaotao felt like her face was being pinched. The ground hurt. But this is nothing compared to the pain of evil fire attacks. Well, good teacher niece, Jiang Ming stopped, but Yan Xiaos asked in a deep voice, Junior brother, do you really have 1,000-year Zumbing? Jiang Ming did not speak, but looked at Yan Xiaos's office, estimated the size, and shook his head. Yan Xiaos and Ma Xiaotao were shocked, thinking that Jiang Ming was joking with him. But Jiang Ming said, the place here is too small to fit in. Find an open place, Yan Xiaos was shocked, and then he took Jiang Ming and Ma Xiaotao to an open area on Poseidon Island. Before Yan Xiaos could speak, Jiang Ming touched the storage soul guide in his hand. A large ice block about 3 meters wide, 4 meters long, and about 1.5 meters high appeared in front of the three people. The moment the ice cube appeared, the surrounding temperature instantly dropped several degrees. It was a sunny day, but Ma Xiaotao felt chilly. However, the evil fire in her body seemed to be suppressed. Is this really a 1,000-year-old mysterious ice? Yan Xiaos exclaimed and looked at Jiang Ming in disbelief, with a flash of shock in his eyes. Where did you get it? I searched for this thing in the far north for a month but couldn't find it, Jiang Ming smiled and said, Senior brother, this is my opportunity. Junior brother hearing this, Yan Xiaos quickly stopped talking. Opportunity is a very private thing, and it is best not to expose it. Okay. With this piece of black ice, at least until she reaches Soul Saint, Xiaotao's cultivation will not be interfered by evil fire. Yan Xiaos's face was full of joy, and he stood aside. Ma Xiaotao's little face was also full of joy. The feeling of being tortured by evil fire is too uncomfortable. Now with Xuanbing, she can wait a minute, Jiang Ming suddenly he said, reaching out to put Xuanbing away. I'm not giving this black ice to you, my niece. If you want to use it, you have to rent it from my uncle. You have to pay rent. Jiang Ming had a profiteer's smile on his face. Ma Xiaotao gritted his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. Rent? Junior brother, what are you doing? Yan Xiaos was stunned, not knowing what Jiang Ming was going to do. Senior brother, please don't worry about it. This is the love I give to my niece as my uncle. 1,000 years of black ice, use it once, that's the number. With that said, Jiang Ming stretched out 5 fingers towards Ma Xiaotao. 5 gold soul coins? I can afford it. Seeing that Jiang Ming wanted to use money to talk things over, Ma Xiaotao felt a little relieved. She directly took out 5 gold soul coins and handed them to Jiang Ming. Haha, Jiang Ming chuckled lightly and said, 5 gold soul coins? Master niece, this is Millennium Zuanbing. What I said is 500 gold soul coins, one time. Use for 1 month at a time. This is half the price I gave you, uncle, how about it? Chapter 91 Youngster Ma Xiaotao is in debt, an unscrupulous businessman Jiang Ming. You are robbing money. When Ma Xiaotao heard Jiang Ming say that 500 gold soul coins can be used once for Xuanbing, she was immediately fascinated. His eyes widened with disbelief. What is the concept of 500 gold soul coins? Shrek Academy's tuition fee for 1 year is only 10 gold soul coins. And what Jiang Ming said is to use it for a month at a time. This means that if Ma Xiaotao wants to practice with Xuanbing all year round, then she will have to give Jiang Ming 6,000 gold soul coins every year. 6,000 gold soul coins. She is now a soul master. How can she get 6,000 gold soul coins? How can this be called robbing money? This is Millennium Xuanbing. It has been at this price for so many years. Okay, it's hard for me. Sometimes I look for my own reasons. Have you practiced seriously and made money seriously? Jiang Ming said something that made people want to hide him. Ma Xiaotao felt that her blood was rising and her breathing was a little disordered. The evil fire that had just gone down was showing signs of breaking out. Ma Xiaotao pointed at Jiang Ming, her fingers trembling, and the anger in her eyes was about to burst out. After taking a few deep breaths, Ma Xiaotao gritted her teeth and took out a money box directly from the storage soul guide. 500 gold soul coins. Give me Xuanbing. Jiang Ming opened the box and took a look, and found that it was filled with golden soul coins. After checking the amount and confirming that it was 500 gold soul coins, he nodded and took out Xuanbing. Ma Xiaotao put Xuanbing away and left, not wanting to say another word to Jiang Ming, a profiteer. Seeing Ma Xiaotao leaving, Yan Xiaos walked over. Junior brother, he had just been watching from the side without interrupting. He felt that Jiang Ming had his own ideas in doing this. As for the money issue, if Ma Xiaotao can't afford it, he can help. He is not as rich as the dean of the Soul Guidance Department, but he can still afford hundreds of thousands of gold soul coins as the dean. Senior brother, if she doesn't have money to rent Xuanbing in the future, don't give her money. Jiang Ming put the money box into the storage soul guide, without any of the profiteer attitude he had just now. Why, Yan? Xiaos was a little confused. No matter how precious something is, if it is too easy to get, you will not cherish it from now on. If she has no money to rent Xuanbing, let her owe it to me. Give her a sense of urgency. Jiang Ming chuckled lightly, said hello to Yan Xiaos, then took out a flying soul guide and flew towards the outer courtyard. Hearing this, Yan Xiaos had a flash of thought in his eyes. For a long time, he looked at Jiang Ming who was leaving in the distance, and then looked at the direction Ma Xiaotao was leaving, and for some reason a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After returning to the outer courtyard, Jiang Ming went directly to the top secret laboratory of the Soul Guidance Department. Although Jiang Ming is charging a lot in rent from Ma Xiaotao now, if the Soul Guide production line plan is completed, these hundreds and thousands of gold soul coins will be just a drop in the bucket. The senior soul engineers of the Soul Guidance Department are frantically conducting tests and experiments in the top secret laboratory. The Soul Guidance device production line involves many technical aspects. They have conquered a small part of them in the past half year, but there is still a large part. The heat problem needs to be solved. It is very difficult and hard, but everyone is working hard. In 3 years, they must produce a result. By then, the status of the Soul Guidance Department in Shrek Academy will surely rise. During such an intense research process, Jiang Ming would go to Poseidon Island to visit his dear niece every other month. Nothing else but collecting rent. Of course, Ma Xiaotao sometimes didn't have that much money, so Jiang Ming let her owe it and gave her generous conditions of only paying back 1% interest every year. Ma Xiaotao originally didn't want to owe the debt, but the teacher wouldn't lend her money and the family was too far away. In desperation, Ma Xiaotao could only keep accounts here in Jiang Ming. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 years passed by like a fleeting moment. In the top secret laboratory of the Soul Guidance Department, Jiang Ming was arguing with a group of senior soul masters. At this time, after 2 years of growth, Jiang Ming has become very tall, nearly 1.85 meters tall, with broad shoulders and extremely obvious muscle lines on his body. But it's not the kind of exaggerated lumps, but a very coordinated and well-proportioned figure. You can't do this to this core array. How will this affect the coherent output of the entire line? Are you a 7th level soul master? What happened to the 7th level soul master? Even the 7th level soul master can't do this. Jiang Ming had a heated argument with a 7th level soul engineer from the Soul Guidance Department, but it was just because of different opinions on a core magic circle. In 2.5 years, Jiang Ming has become familiar with these high-level soul masters. Okay, you two, stop arguing. Anyway, there's still time now, It's too late to try them all, Fan. Yu hurriedly came out to mediate. In the entire top-secret laboratory, only Fan Yu and Jin Duoduo can hold Jiang Ming back. Soon, under the witness of everyone, they used both the core array created by Jiang Ming and the core array created by the 7th-level Soul Master. Facts have proved that Jiang Ming's idea was right, but the core array of the 7th-level Soul Master was not completely wrong, but there was a slight mistake in one aspect. After completing the test, Fan Yu pulled Jiang Ming aside. He said softly, "That is a highly respected old man. Can't you speak more tactfully and gently, Jiang?" Ming sighed and said, "I'm not outspoken." Fan Yu shook his head and said with a smile, "There are technical difficulties in the entire production line now. It's almost solved. The next step is comprehensive testing and experiments, which can be completed within 3 months. Ding Jin and I will keep an eye on this place. As for you, you have been bored here for almost 3 years. Go out and have fun and relax. Let's calm down." Hearing this, a trace of clarity flashed in Jiang Ming's eyes. He has been studying the production line here for almost 3 years. Time flies so fast. "Okay, then I'll go on vacation, Jiang." Ming nodded and walked out of the laboratory. A few minutes later, Jiang Ming used the Flying Soul Guide to fly across Poseidon Lake and arrived at Poseidon Island. He found Mazaya Ateo, who was practicing with ease. When he saw Mazaya Ateo sitting cross-legged on the black ice, Jiang Ming was not in a hurry and sat aside to wait. An hour later, Mazaya Ateo ended her practice. When he opened his eyes and saw Jiang Ming sitting next to him, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. "I'm really on time every time. Is the training over?" "Just in time. This month's rental time has come. 500 gold soul coins." Jiang Ming patted his butt, jumped onto the Xuanbing and looked at Mazaya Ateo. Mazaya Ateo glared at Jiang Ming and said angrily, "Continue to owe, Jiang." Ming nodded, and then took out a ledger from the storage soul guide. "Continue to owe? Okay. In the past 2 years, you have owed a total of 20 times, accumulating 10,000 gold soul coins. There is also a compensation of 39,800 gold soul coins for the damage to the Xuanbing coins, and the interest of 1,200 gold soul coins. You now owe me a total of exactly 51,000 gold soul coins. 51,000 gold soul coins." Hearing this number, Mazaya Ateo's delicate body trembled. She was only 15 years old, but she already owed so much debt. Chapter 92 Reserve Team. He is better than the main selection. Are there so many, Ma? Zaya Ateo looked in disbelief. She reached out and grabbed the accounting book from Jiang Ming's hand and looked through it carefully. "Well, actually there weren't that many, but a year ago you accidentally broke this piece of 1,000-year-old black ice. According to the market price, I even gave you a discount, which was 30,000 yuan. 9,008, well, you can see for yourself, Jiang." Ming raised his chin and said softly. Mazaya Ateo, who had read through the account book, became more and more shocked the more she looked at it. This account was indeed remembered, and it was similar to what she remembered. In other words, she really owed more than 50,000 gold soul coins at such a young age. Okay, don't panic so much. If you can't afford it now, you can pay it back later. If you really can't afford it in the future. Jiang Ming looked at it. Suddenly, the girl who had become slim and graceful appeared in front of her, with a wicked smile on her lips. "If you really can't afford it, why don't you commit yourself to me? I won't pick it, fuck you, Ma." Zaya Ateo directly threw the account book in her hand at Jiang Ming's face. "Throw it away, the evil that has begun to take shape rises and falls, and the beautiful eyes are full of disgust. I pledge myself to you. Even if I never get married, I will never fall in love with you, Jiang." Ming was not annoyed, and reached out to catch the account book and put it away. "It doesn't matter, but I want to remind you, Uncle Master, that you have to practice more slowly in the future. Although Xuanbing can suppress the evil fire in your body, it is suppression, not purification. The harder you suppress it, the more it explodes. The more dangerous you are." Hearing this, Mazaya Ateo frowned. In the past few months, she has gradually become aware of this problem. As her cultivation continues to improve, although the suppression effect of Xuanbing is still there, she can also feel that the evil fire is also constantly accumulating. If the evil fire breaks out at some point, then she may be afraid. "I know," Mazaya Ateo nodded and responded softly. "It's good to know that your cultivation talent is very strong. It would be a pity if you went crazy because of the evil fire problem. By the way, you should be the Soul King now, right? Jiang Ming asked suddenly. 2 years have passed since he met Mazaya Ateo. 2 years ago, Mazaya Ateo was already in the late stage of Soul Lord. With Xuanbing suppressing the evil fire in the past 2 years, and her own strong cultivation talent, Soul Lord should not be a problem. Well, he is already the Soul King. When the issue of debt is not involved, the relationship between Mazaya Ateo and Jiang Ming is relatively friendly, and they can be regarded as friends. The Soul King, who is 15 years old, is indeed very powerful. Jiang Ming nodded in admiration. You know, at the age of 15, he is about the 3rd or 4th grade in the outer courtyard. There is no Soul King in the 6th grade of the outer courtyard. Mazaya Ateo is really talented to be able to cultivate to the Soul King. If Jiang Ming hadn't been here, Mazaya Ateo would have been Shrek Academy's #1 genius in a century. Are you powerful? No matter how powerful you are, I can't compare to a monster like you, Ma. Zaya Ateo stood up from Xuanbing and walked to Jiang Ming with her long and strong legs. I have to say that girls develop very quickly. In just 2 years, Mazaya Ateo's figure has changed completely. Jiang Ming was nourished by the golden heart martial spirit, and coupled with the top-notch nutritious food provided by the academy, he was only about 1.85 meters tall at the age of 15. As for Mazaya Ateo, she is now 1.75 meters tall, with a tall figure and the temperament of a domineering senior. She already looks like a goddess at the age of 15. You should be much stronger than me now, right? Soul Emperor? Mazaya Ateo asked tentatively. Jiang Ming did not answer, but smiled at Mazaya Ateo. TCH, if you don't say it, don't say it. No one cares about it, Ma. Zaya Ateo curled her lips and said disdainfully. But in fact, she still wanted to know very much. After all, Jiang Ming was already in the 4th ring 2 years ago, when she was still in the 3rd ring. Now 2 years have passed. Even if Jiang Ming is not the Soul Emperor, he is definitely infinitely close. Don't worry about my cultivation, I'm afraid it will hurt you. The veins on Mazaya Ateo's forehead are beating wildly. Jiang Ming's words are so irritating. But what he said was true. After all, compared with Jiang Ming's cultivation talent, the cultivation talent that she was proud of was really not enough. Among the new generation of students today, even geniuses are divided into 3 grades. The 3rd level is Chen Zifan, Ling Luchen, Yao Haoxuan, Zixi and the others. They can reach the Soul King level before they are 20 years old, and there is a glimmer of hope to challenge the Soul Emperor. The 2nd level is Mazaya Ateo, Dayaohen, Gong Yangmo and others. It is very likely that they can break through the Soul Emperor before they are 20 years old. However, the gap between Mazaya Ateo, Daiyuheng and Guangyangmo is also quite large. Because Mazaya Ateo has great hope of reaching the Soul Saint level before the age of 20. The possibility of Daiyuheng and Guangyangmo is very small. There is only one person in the 1st level, and that is Jiang Ming. The elders of Poseidon Pavilion have talked about it more than once. It is certain that Jiang Ming will reach Soul Saint before the age of 20, and there is even a glimmer of hope of becoming a Soul Douluo. If you can really break through to the contra level before the age of 20, even the well-informed elders will not be able to imagine the scene. After taking several deep breaths, Mazaya Ateo's rising and falling chest stopped shaking, and her emotions finally calmed down. She felt that in the past 2 years of knowing Jiang Ming, her ability to control her emotions had become stronger and stronger. If this wasn't strong, she would have been pissed to death. She quickly changed the topic. The Continental Senior Soul Master Elite competition is about to begin. The teacher asked me to be a reserve team member to experience it. Will you go? If Mazaya Ateo's evil fire has not been suppressed, if so, Yan Xiao's would not let Mazaya Ateo be a reserve team member. It would be too dangerous. But after 2 years of suppression, Mazaya Ateo's evil fire didn't seem to be that serious anymore, so Yan Xiao's planned to let her have a look. Continental Senior Soul Master Elite Competition. Jiang Ming was stunned for a moment, and then recalled such an event. In fact, what impressed him most about this event was when he watched the group of people from 10,000 years ago participate in the competition in his previous life. After all, he had been busy since he time traveled and seldom cared about it. Let's see, I'm quite interested in this competition, Jiang Ming nodded and said softly. In the Poseidon Pavilion on the other side, the elders also gathered together to discuss this matter. The Continental Senior Soul Master Elite competition is about to begin. Where do you think Jiang Ming should be placed, Mr. Mu lay on the recliner and said softly. Yan Xiaos frowned and said in a deep voice, Jiang Ming is only 15 years old. At this age, he can even participate in the next competition. How about letting him join the reserve team? Hearing this, Vice President Jin Duoduo looked across from him. He opened his mouth and said, reserve team. Jiang Ming is now stronger than the main selection. Take out those little guys from the main selection. Who can beat him? Chapter 93. Oh, old friend. Indeed, with Jiang Ming's current situation, it is possible to be a regular member of the team. Although he is still young, the strength of a soul master does not matter his age. Mr. Zhuan rarely stood on his side. Yan Xiao said in a deep voice. As for Jiang Ming's situation, everyone has witnessed it for the past 2 or 3 years. Not to mention now, even 2 years ago, Jiang Ming had the ability to be a regular player. Everyone knows the level of the Continental Senior Soul Master Elite Competition. The average Soul Master Academy sends out 3 Ring Soul Masters, and there are 4 Ring Soul Masters in the team. In the powerful Soul Master Academy, the team is basically dominated by the 4 Ring Soul sect, with 1 or 2 Soul Kings leading the team. The stronger ones include more than half of the Soul Kings, along with several Soul sects. As for the top colleges, there are basically all Soul Kings, and there may be Soul Emperors. It is said to be a continent-wide high-level Soul Master Elite competition, but in fact the level gap between the Soul Masters sent by each academy is still very large. If we compare the ordinary Soul Master Academy with Shrek Academy, the gap will be so huge that it makes people despair. On our side, the Soul Master is added to the Soul Sect, and on your side, the Soul King is added to the Soul Emperor. On average, they are 2 Soul Rings behind. How bad is that? Exclamation mark. Furthermore, although Jiang Ming was still a Soul Sect 2 years ago, he already had the strength to surpass the Soul King. Even the elders don't know Jiang Ming's strength very well now, but he definitely has the strength of the Soul Emperor level. Perhaps, among these people, only Mr. Mu and Mr. Zhuang have a clearer understanding of Jiang Ming's strength. After all, Jiang Ming has often asked Xia Guang and Xia Erling to practice with Mr. Mu and Mr. Zhuang in the past 2 years. With the help of these 2 big guys, Xia Guang and Xia Erling practiced extremely quickly. Xia Erling even achieved overtaking in corners. Let Jiang Ming join the main team, the reserve team is not suitable for him, Mr. Zhuang said softly. But the main players have already been selected before. If there is a sudden substitution, Yan Xiaos was still a little hesitant. Isn't that easy to handle? If the little guys who are being selected are not convinced, just let Jiang Ming show his hand. Among the Soul Masters, it is best to resolve the dissatisfaction. The best way is to fight directly. The next day, Jiang Ming and Ma Xiaotao came to the assessment area. When Jiang Ming and Ma Xiaotao arrived at the assessment area, they found that there were several familiar figures already waiting there. Diao Heng, Ling Luochen, and Chen Zifan. Gong Mo, you guys, why are you here? Jiang Ming saw the familiar people and walked up happily said hello. In the past 2 years, he spent most of his time studying things in the Soul Guidance Department. Although he was in the outer courtyard, he rarely saw a few of them. Jiang Ming was very happy to see them in the assessment area. Diao Heng, Ling Luochen and others also saw Jiang Ming coming, and they all had a smile on their faces. Indeed, since they completed the class upgrade assessment 2 years ago, they have rarely seen Jiang Ming. When we met several times, Jiang Ming was also in a hurry and looked very busy. How have you guys been doing these past 2 years? Jiang Ming looked at Diao Heng and the others and found that everyone had actually changed quite a lot. In 2 years, for them who are in the golden period of cultivation and physical growth, it can be said that they are almost the same every day. It's okay. We practice normally and attend classes normally. It's just that Teacher Zhou is becoming more and more strict with us. Diao Heng looked at Jiang Ming with a trace of curiosity in his eyes. 2 years have passed. What kind of strength does this popular demon king of the outer courtyard have now? Ling Luochen originally wanted to come up and say hello, but when he saw Ma Xiaotao standing next to Jiang Ming, his eyes suddenly froze. She didn't know if it was because of the conflicting attributes, but she had an unknowing feeling of repulsion towards this red-haired girl. Similarly, Ma Xiaotao didn't look good after feeling the aura on Ling Luochen's body. This is Diao Heng who also noticed the red-haired girl with an excellent figure next to Jiang Ming. He came close to Jiang Ming and whispered, "Is this your girlfriend?" Jiang Ming shook his head and said angrily, "What are you thinking about? This is Mazaya Ateo, a disciple of our Dean Yan Shaos. You kid, if you don't practice hard, you are only 15 years old. You think about how you can improve every day. Soul power?" Dai Yuheng was surprised when he heard this. As the eldest son of the White Tiger Duke's family, he knew Yan Shao's strength. An absolute super Douluo above level 95. For a strong man of this level to be his disciple, his talent is probably extremely strong. "Xiao Tao, come, let me introduce you." Jiang Ming patted Dai Yuheng on the shoulder, and then began to introduce to Mazaya Ateo. "This is Dai Yuheng, that is Ling Lujin, and Chen Zifan, Zixi, Gonggyang Mo, and who are you?" When Jiang Ming introduced the last person, he suddenly paused. "The shape of this person I am Yao Heoxuan. Although it is because of the martial arts in the past 2 years, you can't recognize it, right?" Yao Heoxuan is a little helpless said. "Ah. Yao Heoxuan? How did you become like this?" Jiang Ming really couldn't match the thin figure in front of him with a burly Yao Heoxuan in his memory. It was caused by Wuhan. It's not a bad thing, it just makes him look a little bit vulgar." Chen Zifan patted Yao Heoxuan on the shoulder and chuckled. "It's a fight. What do you mean by looking a little wretched? Can you speak?" Yao Heoxuan glared at Chen Zifan, but the relationship between the two is still very good. "These are all, it's a joke." "Well, it came very quickly. Just in time, my people have also brought it over, ready to start." Zhuan Lao's voice came from not far away. He was holding a wine bottle in one hand and a wine bottle in the other. Even with the chicken legs, he still looked sloppy. Behind him, 7 inner court disciples wearing inner court disciple uniforms came over. "Here, let me introduce you." Zhuan Lao took a bite of the chicken leg, then pointed to Jiang Ming beside him, and said softly, Jiang Ming wants to join the main selection team. Do you have any objections?" Hearing what Elder Zhuan said, the 7 inner court disciples all looked at Jiang Ming with some evil eyes. Their main lineup had been decided before, but yesterday they were told that they were going to bring in a new player. "We have been getting along for a long time, and no one wants to suddenly be replaced by an unfamiliar person." However, when they saw Jiang Ming, 4 of the 7 people couldn't help but twitching at the corners of their mouths and moaning in their hearts. "Why is it this big devil?" At this time, Jiang Ming also saw 7 inner courtyard disciples. Looking at these people, he always felt a little familiar. "Oh, it's you. We are old friends," Jiang Ming said suddenly. Yes, Jiang Ming is familiar with 4 of the 7 inner court disciples standing in front of Jiang Ming. Chen Wu, Wang Zhuan, Li Hui, Yan Hun. These 4, how should I put it, were abused by Jiang Ming 2.5 years ago. Let me ask you a question, do you prefer a single female protagonist or multiple female protagonists? Also, at approximately how many chapters do you hope the protagonist will come into contact with Hogwa? Chapter 94. The group of 4 who were shadowed. After seeing that the person who wanted to jump in line was Jiang Ming, Chen Wu and the others had strange expressions on their faces. To be honest, although Jiang Ming is very strong, he was so strong that he could torture all of them when he was in 1st grade. However, Jiang Ming is still young after all. Even if he is strong enough to be a regular player, the Academy's arrangements should put him in the reserve team. This is the traditional habit of Shrek Academy. But now it seems that the college has made an exception to this habit for Jiang Ming's sake. We're familiar with it, right? Let's get familiar with it. If you don't accept it, if you beat Jiang Ming, then the matter will be over, like watching a good show. Beat me. Jiang Ming glanced at Mr. Zhuan, who was watching the show next to him, and was a little surprised. It's not that he is arrogant, but as he is now, to be honest, he doesn't even know how strong he is. He felt that if these 7 people came together, they might not be able to beat him. Is it too difficult for them to fight alone? Well, the selection of the regular team members has been arranged before, but the Academy thinks that you are stronger than them, so for the sake of fairness, you will be included in the regular team members. It's just that, some of them are a little unconvinced. As for Soul Masters, it's normal to be unconvinced. Just fight with them and defeat them, Mr. Zhuan said with an indifferent expression. In fact, things between Soul Masters can be easily solved. If there is a conflict, if they fight, it will not cause injury or death, and the problem will be easily solved. That's okay, then, Jiang Ming nodded, feeling that what Mr. Zhuan said made sense. Instead of having various interests intertwined and causing trouble, A fight is undoubtedly the most efficient way. Can it still be like this? Then Mr. Zhuan, I also want to be in the main election. When Ma Xiaotao heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. In terms of strength, she is now the 5-ring Soul King. Moreover, there is also the top martial spirit Evil Fire Phoenix, and there are not many members in the main selection who can beat her. Mr. Zhuan glanced at Ma Xiaotao and said bluntly, you can't, Ma. Xiaotao suddenly became anxious and said quickly, Mr. Zhuan, I am definitely stronger than most of them. That won't work either, Mr. Zhuan still objected. Xiaotao, you managed to suppress this evil fire with great difficulty. Xiao Zhe asked you to go just to have a look and prepare for the next competition. If you are on the main selection, you will have to play a lot of games, and it is easy to induce your evil fire, Zhuan Lao explained. After hearing this, Ma Xiaotao felt unhappy, but she still understood the college's thinking. Her evil fire is indeed a big problem. She is not easy to control now. If she participates as a main player, it doesn't matter if she fights 1 or 2 games. If she fights too much and the evil fire breaks out, she will be out event. HMPH, Ma Xiaotao figured this out, folded her arms angrily, and stood aside without speaking. On the other side, except for the 4 members of the original outer courtyard who knew Jiang Ming, the other 3 looked at Jiang Ming and frowned slightly, questioning Jiang Ming's strength. The 3 of them passed the inner court examination and entered the inner court when they were in 4th or 5th grade. When they entered the inner courtyard, Jiang Ming had not yet come to Shrek Academy. As for Jiang Ming's title as the Great Demon King later, they didn't care much. The outer court and the inner court are not only different in location, but also in terms of strength. The big devil in the outer courtyard may not really be considered a greenhorn in the inner courtyard. Then, don't waste time, who comes first? You, Jiang Ming looked at the 4 people who had a chance to fight, and asked softly. It has been 2 years, and he also wants to see what kind of strength his former opponent is now. Us? Let's forget it. Wang Zhuan laughed sarcastically and quickly waved his hand to refuse. 2.5 years ago, Jiang Ming almost killed him with 1 punch. Had it not been for the help of the referee teacher to relieve the pressure, he would have been lying in bed for at least a month. That kind of incomparable fierceness, but with a penetrating effect, my own battle shield has no way to defend it. He really doesn't want to fight Jiang Ming. He couldn't catch Jiang Ming's punch 2 years ago. If he fights again now, it would be really asking for abuse. The same goes for Yan Hun. He originally wanted to compete with Jiang Ming using Wuhan, but Jiang Ming didn't use Wuhan at all, not even soul skills. He was killed by Jiang Ming's 6-tube soul guide ray. It directly makes you doubt your life. Tisk, tisk, tisk. From then on, in every subsequent battle, he would guard against his opponent, lest the opponent suddenly pull out a soul guide ray when he got close. That would be too uncomfortable. Chen Wu was not much better, or in other words, he was the most affected among the 4. Because he really took a blow from Jiang Ming and ruled the world. The effect of King Lin Xiangsha is very strong, not only a mental shock. There is also an extremely strong deterrent. This kind of deterrence will make the person who is hit fear the user of Jun Lin Xiangsha and have the idea of being invincible. So, even if Chen Wu had the idea of discussing with Jiang Ming, his spirit did not allow him to do so. Relatively speaking, Li Ming's situation is relatively good. Although he and a group of others were bombarded by Jiang Ming's air-to-ground saturation attacks, his mentality was still normal. However, he didn't think he could fight Jiang Ming. The aura of the big devil is so terrifying. The 4 of them all took a small step back, indicating that they had no intention of starting a fight with Jiang Ming. The other 3 frowned even deeper when they saw this small detail. They sensed something was wrong. Although Chen Wu and others are at the bottom of the team in terms of strength, Chen Wu is the 2nd strongest attacker in their team. He doesn't dare to fight? Let me test your strength. At this time, the captain among the 7 stood up and challenged Jiang Ming. Chen Wu didn't dare to take action, so she could only be the strongest captain in the team. She couldn't let the supporting teammates next to her fight Jiang Ming. The captain of the main team is a 20-year-old girl. She has long black hair that hangs down to her waist. Her face is fair and delicate, and her temperament is quiet and gentle. Xiao Lexuan is going to take action. Jiang Ming, you have to be careful. Everyone else, get out of the way. Tang Tang dear, Zhuan Lao waved his hand, and the others immediately dispersed. This leaves a large fighting area. Zhang Lexuan, Wu Hunaiu, the 68th level assault system's Soul Emperor, please enlighten me. Hearing the soul power level reported by Zhang Lexuan, the few guys in the reserve team were shocked. The age limit for participating in the competition is no more than 20 years old. In other words, this level 68 attack type War Spirit Emperor is not yet 20 years old. This kind of talent is simply terrifying. Hearing this, Jiang Ming narrowed his eyes slightly and said softly, Jiang Ming, Golden Heart of Martial Spirits, a powerful attack spirit master, please enlighten me. Chapter 95, Just 4 Soul Rings. Hearing that Jiang Ming did not report his soul power when introducing himself, Zhang Lexuan frowned slightly. The next moment, she directly activated her soul power and released her martial soul. 6 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black, rose from her feet. The existence of the 6 soul rings demonstrated her strength as a powerful soul emperor. And, at the same time that the soul ring appeared, a silver moon slowly appeared behind Zhang Lexuan. Although it was broad daylight, the brilliance of the silver moon was still so dazzling. Martial Spirit, the moon. Good guy, Moon Martial Spirit, this beautiful sister is very powerful. Jiang Ming squinted his eyes, feeling the oppressive feeling brought by the silver moon behind Zhang Lexuan. A hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. Speaking of which, he has not had a serious discussion with others in the past 2 years, so this time he just needs to stretch his muscles. Jiang Ming activated his soul power and released his Golden Heart Martial Spirit. On the other side, after seeing the extremely powerful aura exuding from Zhang Lexuan, the faces of everyone in the reserve team became serious. In the past 2 years, they have practiced very hard under Zhou Yi's guidance, and their cultivation has also made breakthroughs very quickly. Currently, Dao Heng is already at the peak of the Soul Sect and is stuck on the bottleneck of the 50-level Soul King, while Ling Luochen and others are almost in the later stages of the Soul Sect. In 2 years, to advance from Soul Master to this level, in addition to their own efforts and training, the support from the family forces behind them is also indispensable. But even so, when they saw the coercion emanating from Zhang Lexuan, who was at the Soul Emperor level, they felt extremely strong pressure. Even Dao Heng's face was full of solemnity. Do you think the big devil can beat this beautiful senior sister? Gong Yangmo always talks a lot, and I don't know if it's because of the influence of Wuhan. His voice became more and more feminine and sounded a little weird. However, Dao Heng and others were obviously used to Gong Yangmo's voice and did not pay attention. It's hard to say, but this is a strong man at the Soul Emperor level, or a disciple of the Inner Courtyard, with a soul power of level 68, Chen Zifeng said in a deep voice. Well, although 2 years have passed, the Great Demon King's cultivation should have reached the Soul King level, but the opponent is the Soul Emperor, and his soul power is as high as level 68. Even if the Great Demon King leaps over the level and fights, I'm afraid it will be difficult to win. Yao Heoxuan on the side is not very optimistic about Jiang Ming. The gap between the Soul Emperor and the Soul King is much larger than the gap between the Soul Sect and the Soul Lord. In the past, Jiang Ming was able to defeat the entire outer courtyard, but when he arrived in the inner courtyard, facing the disciples of the inner courtyard who were also top martial arts and had such a high level of cultivation, it was really not easy to win. You still don't understand this guy, he will definitely win, Ling Luochen said coldly. Ma Xiaotao on the side glanced at Ling Luochen and said, it's just the Soul Emperor. Can that senior sister be the Soul Emperor? Can't Jiang Ming be the Soul Emperor? Ma Xiaotao had a rough guess about Jiang Ming's strength. Although she rarely played against Jiang Ming in the past 2 years, she could feel that the gap between her and Jiang Ming had not only not narrowed, but also continued to widen. No matter how hard she practiced, even if she was now the Soul King, that feeling still existed. So, she felt that Jiang Ming should also be a Soul Emperor now. Dao Heng looked at the 2 beauties next to him who believed that Jiang Ming could beat Zhang Lexuan, and he had already made a judgment in his heart. Jiang Ming can definitely win. If nothing else, just because of his second martial spirit that is beyond ordinary people's understanding, Jiang Ming can defeat the Soul Emperor even if he is a Soul King. Although it may be a bit difficult to defeat the level 68 Soul Emperor, it is not impossible. Not to mention Jiang Ming still has a soul guide and his 50,000-year-old 4th soul ring. What happened to the Soul Emperor? Even if the Soul Emperor encounters a monster like Jiang Ming, he may not be able to win for sure. Opposite the reserve team members are the other 6 members of the main team. The group of 4 who had been abused by Jiang Ming didn't say anything. After the other 2 saw Zhang Lexun releasing her martial soul and displaying 6 soul rings, their faces suddenly showed expressions of victory. Why can Zhang Lexun become the captain? That's because she has absolute dominance among the inner court disciples. Who is the great demon king of the outer court? Unbelievable to the heavenly soul king level. In front of the eldest sister of the 68th level soul emperor, and in front of Zhang Lexun, a seed student in the inner courtyard, the great demon king of the outer courtyard is just a loser. After seeing Jiang Ming release his martial soul, as Jiang Ming's soul ring rose from beneath his feet, the expressions on their faces were constantly changing. The first yellow soul ring is normal and everyone's standard. Second, purple soul ring. This one is a bit powerful, a little over the standard, but not a big problem. The third one is also a purple soul ring, normal. When the fourth soul ring, the black 10,000-year soul ring, appeared, the expressions of the 6 regular team members changed. The fourth soul ring lasts 10,000 years. This is a bit too much. Moreover, the aura released by this 10,000-year soul ring is much stronger than the 10,000-year soul ring they possess. What kind of weird thing is this guy? His soul ring ratio is so terrifying! Exclamation mark. Just when the 7 members of the main team were looking forward to the appearance of Jiang Ming's 5th soul ring with solemn expressions, no soul ring rose under Jiang Ming's feet. This except Dai Yaoheng and Mr. Zhuan, everyone else was shocked. Why does the big devil only have 4 rings? Gong Mo screamed in surprise. His voice sounded a bit sharp. He really could not have imagined that Jiang Ming, the great demon king who once dominated the entire outer courtyard, would only have 4 rings 2 years later. You know, those of them who are far less talented than Jiang Ming have already reached the 4th ring. In their imagination, Jiang Ming is at least a 5-ring soul king now. When Dai Yaoheng heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. 4 rings? 4 farts. As one of the few people who has seen Jiang Ming's second martial spirit, Dai Yaoheng can guarantee that Jiang Ming's second martial spirit now has at least 5 rings. Even 6 rings. 4 rings is second martial soul 2.5 years ago had 4 soul rings. After practicing for 2.5 years, he can still reach the 4th ring? It almost scared me. Good guy, I thought this guy had a soul ring behind him, but it turns out it's just a 4-ring ring. 1 of the regular team members breathed a sigh of relief. The 4th ring is also very powerful. He is only 15 years old, and his 4th soul ring is 10,000 years old, the only female member of the main team. He said softly, this kind of talent is stronger than those of the regular team members. Now I am just suffering the consequences of my age. Indeed. But what he is facing now is the eldest sister, with only 4 soul rings. Before he finished speaking, Jiang Ming's whole body aura surged, and he had an aura at the soul emperor level. It surged out and pressed towards Zhang Lexun. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 Gong Yangmo, haha, I'm just a waste. What the hell? When Jiang Ming's body erupted with Soul Emperor level soul power fluctuations, everyone was surprised. Even though Mr. Zhuan, Mazaya Ateo and Dai Yuheng, who were mentally prepared, guessed that Jiang Ming should have broken through to Soul Emperor cultivation level, they were still surprised. You know, the 20-year-old Soul Emperor can already become a seed in the inner courtyard of Shrek Academy where geniuses gather, but Jiang Ming is only 15 years old now. If the 20-year-old and 68th level Soul Emperor Zhang Lexun is the #1 genius in the inner courtyard, then who is Jiang Ming? One of a kind. At least in the history of Shrek Academy, there has never been a genius of this level. This is so scary. A 4th level ringer. How can he have a Soul Emperor level of cultivation? The male member of the main team who didn't know Jiang Ming was dumbfounded. He just said a mere 4 soul rings, and Jiang Ming directly exploded with Soul Emperor level soul power? What to do? 4 rings. Is it possible to be the Soul Emperor? The auxiliary soul master girl in the main selection team next to her murmured. A trace of shock flashed in her eyes, and then she seemed to think of something happened, and his clear eyes widened instantly. 4-ringed Soul Emperor, could it be that he is twin martial souls? The Male team member next to him also reacted instantly. With this number of soul rings and this level of soul power, the only possibility is twin martial souls. Oh my god, the 15-year-old Soul Emperor is still a twin martial soul. He is the Demon King. This is the Demon King. As a member of the main team, he was instantly confused. Even the female team members beside him were stunned. Although the group of four was also shocked and speechless, they were relatively calm. After all, he had been tortured before, so they were not surprised by how strong Jiang Ming had become, even if he had now become a titled Douluo that seemed a bit too exaggerated. Ma Xiaotao, who was standing by, felt the Soul Emperor level soul power fluctuations in Jiang Ming's body and immediately felt relieved. Sure enough, what she thought was right, Jiang Ming has really reached the Soul Emperor level. It's just that these twin martial spirits are really unexpected. The reserve team members on the side were already starting to feel depressed. Jiang Ming is at most a few months older than them, but he is 2 levels higher than them. It is the level of 2 soul rings. It's not a 2-level soul power. It's so shocking. The Great Demon King is indeed still the Great Demon King. Twin martial souls, 15-year-old soul emperors, I am a waste, Guang. Yang Mo's eyes were a little dull, and he murmured softly in a girly voice, falling into deep self-doubt. Others are not much better. In 2 years, things have really changed. In fact, whether it is a few people in the reserve team or a few people in the main team, they are all geniuses. After all, the students who can represent Shrek Academy in the Continental Soul Master Elite competition are definitely the strongest among their peers. It's just that Jiang Ming's situation is a bit cheating. Although Jiang Ming has spent most of the past 2 years doing research in the soul guidance system, he has a group of elves in the Sea of Spirit to help him practice. The 6 rings, 6 elves, are helping Jiang Ming practice while practicing. This is still the case when the elves are now in the Sea of Spirit. They no longer simply help Jiang Ming increase his soul power cultivation speed, but also strengthen Jiang Ming's mental power. Otherwise, Jiang Ming's current cultivation speed should be 3 times that of an ordinary soul master. What is the concept of triple efficiency? Not to mention the Soul Emperor, Jiang Ming's soul saint cultivation level can even touch it now. Of course, mental strength is also very important. In addition, Jiang Ming doesn't have much time to practice, so his current cultivation level is at the early stage of Soul Emperor, which is around level 63. But this is enough. Twin martial souls. Zhang Lexun felt the fluctuation of soul power in Jiang Ming's body, and her eyes instantly became serious. Now, she officially regards Jiang Ming as an opponent of the same level. The next moment, Zhang Lexun's first, second, and third soul rings lighted up at the same time. At the same time, Zhang Lexun's eyes flashed with silver light, and the moon above her head rose into the sky. Moonlight shot out from the moonlight soul rays, striking Jiang Ming with saturation. Zhang Lexun's first 3 soul skills are in similar forms. They all release moonlight from the martial soul, but the effects are somewhat different. Good guy, why are you so big when you come up? Jiang Ming smiled at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were not surprised but happy. He just loves fierce battles. Second soul skill, Soul Guard, Jiang Ming secretly thought in his heart, and a golden light shield appeared directly in front of his body. As for Jiang Ming himself, without any hesitation, he used his light shield to hold up the continuously falling moonlight and bullied Zhang Lexun. Judging from these ray attacks, Zhang Lexun's attack methods are more long-range attacks. To deal with opponents who are good at long-range attacks, close combat is obviously the most correct approach. Moreover, Jiang Ming himself is a close combat player. Only by closing the distance can he maximize his combat effectiveness. Of course, during the sudden advance, Jiang Ming did not forget to use his first soul skill. My heart is shocked. In a Soul Emperor level contest, the effect of heart shock is actually not particularly obvious. After all, as the Soul Master's cultivation improves, the Soul Master's physical fitness is also continuously strengthened. Although heart shock is a very abnormal soul skill, given the age of the soul ring, it is still difficult to really play a huge role in front of strong people. But this is not useless at all. After all, Jiang Ming is now using the first soul skill with the Soul Emperor level cultivation. In Jiang Ming's body, the golden heart emitted an invisible wave, which swayed along the space around Zhang Lexun. Zhang Lexun felt that her heart suddenly became disordered for some reason. A missed beat, a quick beat, she couldn't help but open her mouth and take a deep breath, and used her soul power to suppress it, and she could barely suppress the palpitations. "Is it your soul skill?" A trace of shock flashed in Zhang Lexun's eyes. This kind of soul skill that directly attacks the heart is something that even she has never seen before. "Hey, are you excited?" Jiang Ming joked, and then the expression on his face became serious. "The real battle will come next. Be careful, Jiang." Ming shouted deeply. The third soul skill, golden blood, he glanced at Zhang Lexun. He shouted this out specifically to put Zhang Lexun on guard. After all, with his current cultivation level, the power of using golden blood was not what it was 2 years ago. After Zhang Lexun heard the sound, her eyes narrowed and she quickly backed away. She has never fought against Jiang Ming, but her combat awareness is very keen. When Jiang Ming shouted this, she smelled a sense of extreme danger and couldn't force it. The next chapter is at 9:30. Chapter 97, Battle with Zhang Lexun. Sure enough, just when Jiang Ming's third soul ring lit up, Zhang Lexun felt that Jiang Ming's aura instantly increased by half. It was originally weaker than her soul power, but after such an improvement, it instantly became stronger than hers. Now Jiang Ming's aura is by no means weaker than that of a soul sage who has not activated his true form of martial soul. At this time, the light shield in front of Jiang Ming that was responsible for blocking the moonlight rays was also shattered. This is the second soul ring after all. It has been strong for so long under the superposition of Zhang Lexun's 3 soul skills. However, for Jiang Ming, this is just the beginning. Jiang Ming did not use the second soul skill again. He had just approached Zhang Lexun some distance away. And in the golden blood state, his body's strength has been greatly strengthened, and these moonlight rays are no longer a big threat to him. Drunk immortal looking at the moon, Jiang Ming's eyes narrowed, and his steps suddenly became erratic. I saw his figure swaying, taking strange steps, but his speed was extremely fast, and his steps were light and elusive. This is Zhang Lexun just took a few steps back, but when she looked forward, she found that the distance between herself and Jiang Ming was not widened, but closer. Exclamation mark. What is this? It doesn't look like a soul skill, Mazaya Ateo asked with some confusion. Mr. It's a technique that was developed. But when I saw it, it was still very immature, but now, after the guidance of Mr. Mu and the old man, I have made some progress. Speaking of this, Mr. Zhuan also tolerated it. I couldn't help but sigh. Jiang Ming's understanding is so strong. I don't know how his brain grew. Those things like inch strength, fighting skills, grappling, and what is called Tai Chi were all realized inadvertently. Although he was very simple and immature when he realized it, Jiang Ming's the teacher is Mr. Mu. As for the elders of Poseidon Pavilion, their innovation may not be able to keep up with Jiang Ming, but it is not a big problem to help improve it. Once they perfected it, they discovered that Jiang Ming's ideas were simply outrageous. Even these title Douluo and Super Douluo have benefited a lot. Did you realize it yourself? Mazaya Ateo looked at Jiang Ming, who looked like a god of war not far away, and didn't know what to say. Twin martial souls, top martial souls, fast cultivation speed, talented soul guides, and now even their understanding is so strong. Which window did God close for him? Not only Mazaya Ateo thought so, but others also thought so, and even felt a little shaken. While everyone was in isolation, Jiang Ming had already arrived in front of Zhang Lexun through the Zui Xian Wang Yu step. The moonlight rays are still attacking Jiang Ming, but at most they can only slow down Jiang Ming's speed, and they won't have much effect at all. At this time, Zhang Lexun had no time to escape. Seeing this, there was no panic on Zhang Lexun's fair face, and the fourth soul ring on her body suddenly flashed. In an instant, the silver moon in the sky shed a little light. Bathed in the moonlight, Zhang Lexun's speed suddenly doubled. She dodged, and the fifth soul ring on her body shone brightly. The crescent moon above the head suddenly turned golden, and then, the crescent moon suddenly separated into another crescent moon of the same size, falling from the air instantly. Moonset. The golden crescent moon, wrapped in an extremely powerful aura, fell towards Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming did not chase after him, but narrowed his eyes to look at the falling crescent moon. He could withstand the previous moonlight rays, but this crescent moon is a 10,000-year soul skill. If he chases Zhang Lexun, he will definitely be hit by the crescent moon. In an instant, the crescent moon fell on Jiang Ming's head. Jiang Ming suddenly stretched out his hands, relying on the powerful power of the golden blood state to directly catch the rapidly falling sickle-like crescent moon. The moment he caught the crescent moon, Jiang Ming squatted down slightly. The kinetic energy carried by this crescent moon was greater than he imagined. If he hadn't turned on the golden blood, he might not have been able to catch this thing with his physical strength. Taking Xiao Lexuan's moonlight with nothing? Jiang Ming is really brave. When Mr. Xuan saw this scene, his eyes widened. The 10,000-year soul skill displayed by the 68th level Soul Emperor, even a 10,000-year soul beast cannot catch this blow. But Jiang Ming caught it with his bare hands. Humanoid soul beast. Humanoid soul beast. The strength of your body, Zhang. Lexuan's pupils shrank suddenly when she saw Jiang Ming taking over her 5th soul skill with bare hands. What kind of monster can receive a 10,000-year-old soul skill with nothing? Exclamation mark. I have used 5 of the 6 soul skills. I have to take it seriously. Jiang Ming sank his hands and threw the crescent moon in his hand aside. Immediately afterwards, Jiang Ming's speed increased instantly, so fast that he even left an afterimage on the spot. Grab the hand. Before Zhang Lexuan could react, Jiang Ming moved in front of Zhang Lexuan like a dragon, stretched out a hand, and grabbed Zhang Lexuan's shoulder. If this hand is caught, with Jiang Ming's strength, it will be extremely difficult for Zhang Lexuan to break free. Zhang Lexuan also knows this. She has already seen Jiang Ming's power just now. If he is caught, he will basically lose. The moonlight above her had shone again. Zhang Lexuan made a mistake and narrowly avoided Jiang Ming's grasping hand. However, this is not over at all. Jiang Ming was like a ferocious beast, stepping on the drunken immortal's moon-gazing steps, raising his grasping hand. The shock of the heart and the blood of gold continued to exert their effects, and attacked Zhang Lexuan fiercely. Even if Zhang Lexuan has the speed blessing of the 4th soul skill Yu Wei, she is still under great pressure under Jiang Ming's strong attack. With the enhanced speed, strength, and interference, Zhang Lexuan didn't even have the chance to counterattack. As long as you go a little slower, you will be caught by Jiang Ming. And the consequences of being caught, the explosions that hit the air are enough to explain it all. Finally, Zhang Lexuan found a gap in Jiang Ming's attack and used her 6th soul skill without hesitation. No way, the moonlight rays of the first 3 soul skills had little effect on Jiang Ming. And Yu Luo was directly caught by Jiang Ming just now, but it had no effect. The next moment, Zhang Lexuan's 6th soul ring rose directly into the air and merged with the moon above her head. The silver-white moon turned black instantly, and only this layer of silver glow remained outside. Immediately afterwards, a beam of light with a black center and silver outer ring fell from the sky, hitting Jiang Ming in an instant. The speed was so fast that Jiang Ming didn't even have time to react. Jiang Ming only felt that his body was in a state of stiffness, unable to make any movements. Immediately afterwards, another ray of moonlight fell from the sky and hit Jiang Ming directly. This soul skill is a bit unexpected, Jiang Ming sighed in his heart, but his eyes remained calm. In that case, rule the world. In an instant, a tyrannical spiritual power rushed towards Zhang Lexuan with an emperor-like pressure. Come and vote. 4 single heroines. Deduct 1 in the comment area and leave the name of the heroine. Many heroines deducted 123,456 in the comment area and left their corresponding names. Chapter 98. Do you know what it means to pity the fragrance and cherish the jade? Although Jiang Ming's body was controlled by Zhang Lexuan's 6th soul skill, his mental power could not be controlled. Although the power of Junlin Xiangshu without superimposed physical attacks is not that strong, it is still enough to provide a powerful deterrent to the strong ones of the same level. Besides, to be honest, after 2 years, his current mental power has become stronger due to the training of the elves. Zhang Lexuan originally thought that her 6th soul skill could control Jiang Ming for a period of time, giving herself a chance to distance herself. But what I didn't expect was that Jiang Ming could actually attack mentally. He is obviously not a spiritual soul master. Zhang Lexuan, who had been guarding against Jiang Ming's physical attacks, never thought that she would be attacked mentally. This resulted in Junlin Xiangsha, who had Jiang Ming not superimposed physical attacks, having a great negative impact on her. Effect. A trace of pain flashed across Zhang Lexuan's fair and gentle face. The mental pain was much stronger than the physical pain. As for Jiang Ming, he was actually not much better. After being immobilized by Zhang Lexuan's 6th soul skill, he still had a pursuit skill behind him. The black silver ring light pillar that fixed Jiang Ming was like the prerequisite skill of the moonlight behind him. After Jiang Ming was fixed, the moonlight behind him was also very powerful. Jiang Ming, who was immobilized, could only bear the moonlight. The moonlight shrouded his whole body, and Jiang Ming felt as if his body was under a cliff and waterfall, being washed away by high-pressure water. The pressure was so huge that even Jiang Ming's current physical strength was a bit unbearable. Period. Moreover, the horror of this moonlight doesn't stop there. Under this moonlight, Jiang Ming felt that the golden blood state was fading rapidly. This moonlight not only has an attacking effect, but also a weakening effect. The moonlight lasted for 2 seconds. During these 2 seconds, Zhang Lexuan did not continue to attack Jiang Ming because she herself needed time to recover from Jiang Ming's mental attack. "Hiss, I haven't felt this painful in a long time," Jiang Ming hissed, and the clothes on his body melted away in the moonlight just now, leaving only some broken clothes. The fabric reveals the strong and powerful body underneath. But fortunately, the pants underneath were not completely melted away, but the trousers turned into the short style worn in summer. But the clothes on his upper body disappeared directly, revealing his strong lines and 8-pack abs. Because he had just endured the wash of the moonlight, Jiang Ming's skin was a little red, and he looked like he had just come out of a sauna. Looking at the situation on his body, Jiang Ming frowned, but a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Senior Zhang, in all these years, you are still the first soul master to push me to this point." As he spoke, Jiang Ming moved his body, and the bones in his body made a sound. A crackling sound. Hearing this, Zhang Lexuan instinctively felt something was wrong. The next moment, Jiang Ming's figure attacked her again. The speed was much slower this time. After the wash of the moonlight just now, most of the increase in the golden blood on Jiang Ming's body disappeared. But Zhang Lexuan did not feel relaxed, but became more solemn. She could clearly feel that after this wave of battles, some of the fighting fever factors in Jiang Ming's body were stimulated. Most of the increase was cut off, and his fighting will become even stronger. "What kind of freak is this?" Exclamation mark. Zhang Lexuan had no time to be shocked. She endured the discomfort of her spirit and heart while using her flexible body to transfer. However, although Jiang Ming's speed is much slower, the pace under his feet seems to be more agile, and even the number of times he grabs the hand has increased a lot. For a time, Zhang Lexuan felt that her pressure not only did not decrease, but actually increased. In the field, Jiang Ming and Zhang Lexuan chased each other and escaped. It can be said that she escaped and he chased, but she couldn't fly. What kind of monster is this? The sixth soul skill that took the eldest sister's head by force. Not only did he not fall down, but he also became more ferocious. The main team members who were watching the battle were stunned. They knew Zhang Lexuan's strength. Not to mention the sixth soul skill, even if Zhang Lexuan only used the first, second and third soul skills, few of them could last a few rounds under Zhang Lexuan. This is currently the #1 genius in the inner courtyard. A veritable big sister. However, this Jiang Ming actually carried the first, second and third soul skills of his eldest sister throughout the entire process. In addition to slowing down his speed, these moonlight rays were just like tickling him. But for resisting the sixth soul skill, let alone falling down, his body was red, but he didn't even bleed. Even more cruel. Is this horse a human? Exclamation mark. Even Mr. Zhuan stopped eating chicken legs. He didn't know much about Jiang Ming's strength. He only learned from Mr. Mu that Jiang Ming had already attained the rank of Soul Emperor. In his opinion, Jiang Ming, who possesses the top-level martial soul and twin martial souls, has a high possibility of defeating Zhang Lexuan. But he didn't expect this to be the case. Zhang Lexuan is the #1 genius in the inner courtyard. Even among the core disciple seeds of the inner courtyard, they are extremely high-ranking. Such a genius was suppressed and beaten by Jiang Ming throughout the whole process? Unbelievable, really unbelievable. Keeping evasion was not the answer. Zhang Lexuan began to think of ways to fight back when Jiang Ming was pressing him step by step. But she had just used her soul skills over and over again. At this moment, a large part of her soul power had been consumed, and she had little chance of counterattack. Not only that, under extreme mental stress and with her heart constantly messing up, she finally made a mistake. Zhang Lexuan secretly thought something bad, but before she could react, Jiang Ming's hand reached out to her shoulder. Grappling hand. Can't escape. Zhang Lexuan knew that she could no longer dodge this move, so she could only turn around and cross her arms in front of her body to resist the move. Bang! With just one move, Zhang Lexuan felt as if her arms had lost consciousness, and her body was directly slapped away, followed by uncontrollable trembling. Not only that, Zhang Lexuan also noticed that an extremely explosive energy was transmitted through Jiang Ming's palm, constantly destroying the tendons in her arms. Not good, Mr. Zhuan noticed something was wrong the moment he saw Jiang Ming hit Zhang Lexun. After being hit by Jiang Ming's hand, everything else was fine, but the boy's strength would turn into dark energy and penetrate into the opponent's body. If that force cannot be dissipated, Zhang Lexun's hand will be useless. Jiang Ming also noticed something was wrong as soon as the photo was taken. He was seen taking the drunken immortal's moon-gazing steps and directly caught Zhang Lexun in the air as he flew backwards. Then, regardless of Zhang Lexun's resistance, he directly grabbed her hand and sensed the location of the dark energy. After finding the location, Jiang Ming directly used his tyrannical soul power and blood to suppress the dark energy, and quickly forced the dark energy out of Zhang Lexun's body. At this time, Mr. Zhuan also came to the two of them. After seeing Jiang Ming force Jin out, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he glared at Jiang Ming and said angrily, "Why are you so cruel? Do you know what it means to pity the fragrance and cherish the jade?" Chapter 99. Damn it. A kind of plant. Senior sister, I'm sorry, I just got high, so I subconsciously used dark energy. It's my fault, Jiang Ming also knew that he had done something wrong. Terrified, I quickly apologized. Let me go. Zhang Lexun, who was still held in Jiang Ming's arms, looked at Jiang Ming, who was shirtless, and didn't know whether the pain in her hands was too strong, or whether the temperature on Jiang Ming's body was too hot, and two blushes appeared on his fair and gentle face. Hearing Zhang Lexun's eager voice, Jiang Ming was stunned for a second. He quickly let Zhang Lexun down from his arms and released his grip on Zhang Lexun's arm. Zhang Lexun's arms were drooped, unable to raise her strength at all. Even if Jiang Ming forced out the secret energy, the strength was still real, and her arms were still shaking. Hearing Zhang Lexun's voice of admitting defeat, Jiang Ming blinked and didn't know what to do. In fact, from his point of view, it is normal for Zhang Lexun to lose. Not to mention that she is still the Soul Emperor, even if she is the Soul Saint, with a martial soul avatar, Jiang Ming is absolutely sure to win against her. It's just a matter of using more methods. I give up. Why don't you turn off your soul skills? Seeing Jiang Ming still standing there stupidly, Zhang Lexun couldn't help but feel a little angry. She had collected her martial spirit just now, but Jiang Ming's martial spirit was still activated. Not only his martial spirit was activated, but his soul skills were also activated. At this moment, not only was her head hurting, her arms were in pain so much that she couldn't move her arms, and her heart kept doing something wrong, stopping and beating again and again, which was really annoying. Oh, I almost forgot about this. Jiang Ming was clicked before he reacted. He quickly collected his martial spirit and turned off his soul skills. The main reason is that Heart Shock, the first soul skill, does not consume a lot of soul power, and its interference ability is not bad. Jiang Ming likes to keep it on during battles. After putting away his martial spirit, the energy and blood in Jiang Ming's body also dropped, and then it hurts so much. Jiang Ming screamed strangely, feeling that his whole body was in severe pain. The red skin looks like a crab that has just been steamed and is about to be cooked. Actually, he was in the same state just now, but with a bonus of golden blood, the immunity of the martial spirit, and the surge in fighting will, he just felt a little pain. But now that the martial soul is put away, the soul skills are put away, and the will to fight is gone, the feeling of being baptized all over the body and feeling extremely good suddenly comes up. Do you really think Zhang Lexun's sixth soul skill is so easy to master? That is a 10,000-year-old soul skill displayed by a level 68 Soul Emperor. No matter how strong Jiang Ming is physically, he cannot easily withstand an attack of this level. Looking at Jiang Ming, who was jumping up and down in pain, Zhang Lexun felt that her head and arms didn't seem to hurt so much anymore, and the depression in her heart after being abused disappeared a lot unconsciously. However, when she saw Jiang Ming releasing another martial soul, especially when she saw the 10,000-year soul rings rising one after another on his body, Zhang Lexun was completely stunned. A2 3 4 5 6. A total of 6 black 10,000-year soul rings. Not only Zhang Lexun was stunned, but everyone in the venue was also stunned. 6,000-year soul rings? Jiang Ming's second martial soul actually has 6,000-year soul rings? Exclamation mark. Jiang Ming ignored the shock of others. The fourth soul ring among the 6 10,000-year soul rings lit up. A turquoise light enveloped Jiang Ming's entire body. A cool feeling instantly filled his body. The burning and pain were suppressed. Xiao Ling's ability is really useful. After the pain was gone, Jiang Ming breathed a sigh of relief and sighed that Xiao Ling's power was really useful. Xiao Ling is Jiang Ming's fourth soul ring. Jiang Ming can also use Xiao Ling's power, and he can directly use the power stored in a soul ring without mobilizing his own soul power. In just half a minute, Jiang Ming, who was covered in green light, recovered from the cooked crab state and felt refreshed. Even the side effects of using the golden blood disappeared. The Book of Elves is floating in the air, but no elves come out of it. They all stay in Jiang Ming's spiritual sea. Did you see him? Did you see that? Those are six 10,000-year soul rings. 10,000-year soul rings. The unnamed male player among the regular players pointed at Jiang Ming. His eyes were horrified, as if he had seen a ghost. His voice was trembling, and his whole body was shaking, and he spoke to the female teammates next to him in an unbelievable tone. The picture you see in your own sight. I'm not blind yet. The voices of the female team members also trembled. As disciples of the inner courtyard, they have always been brave, determined and steady. But after seeing the 6 black 10,000-year soul rings on Jiang Ming's body, they completely forgot about them. This kind of thing that goes beyond common sense and challenges cognition is happening right in front of us, and no one is exempt. What? A disciple of the inner court of Shrek Academy? The disciples in the inner courtyard of Shrek Academy are human beings too. Even if you see an inhuman scene, you will be confused. After recovering his physical condition, Jiang Ming put away the Book of Spirits, and the 6 black soul rings disappeared in front of everyone, but the shock and horror he brought to everyone did not disappear. Period. Old Zhuangxuan. How did he do it? 6,000-year soul rings, ma. Xia Atao's domineering red phoenix eyes were dumbfounded at this time. She knew that Jiang Ming should have broken through the Soul Emperor level, but who would have thought of a Soul Emperor with 6,000-year soul rings? Exclamation mark. How did you do it? Why do you think the twin martial souls are so blessed, Mr. Zhuan glanced at Ma Xia Atao and said softly. Ma Xia Atao then reacted. Yes, Jiang Ming is a twin martial soul. His first martial soul has a 10,000-year soul ring, and it is not incomprehensible that his second martial soul has 6 10,000-year soul rings. After regaining his condition, Jiang Ming walked to Mr. Zhuan again. Mr. Being shirtless doesn't seem right either. Mr. nodded. Go ahead. Jiang Ming turned around and wanted to leave, but when he turned around, he saw Zhang Lexun's arms were still trembling, and he couldn't help but frown slightly. The force of his palm just now will not heal for a while. After thinking about it, Jiang Ming walked up to Zhang Lexun, looked at her and asked, do you want me to treat you? When Mr. Zhuan saw this, he raised his eyebrows and directly used his soul power to transmit his voice. Why are you asking? If you can cure it, just cure it. Hearing this, Jiang Ming glanced at Mr. The martial soul of the book used the power of the little spirit to heal the injury on Zhang Lexun's arm. Well, my hand should be fine. As for the mental situation, I can't do anything about it now. You can only endure it for a while, and it will be fine after a while. Said after finishing, Jiang Ming turned around and left again. At this time, Zhang Lexun, who had not yet reacted after Jiang Ming had healed her arm, subconsciously stopped Jiang Ming. Is there anything else? Jiang Ming turned around and asked. You didn't use your full strength just now, right? Zhang Lexun could actually accept her failure, but after seeing that Jiang Ming's second martial soul had 6,000-year soul rings, I just couldn't accept it in my heart. Jiang Ming was able to force her into this state with a martial soul with only 4 soul rings, and easily defeated her. If she were to take this martial soul with 6,000-year soul rings, she would probably lose even more miserably. Thinking of this, Zhang Lexun's pride as the #1 genius in the inner court instantly collapsed. After Jiang Ming heard Zhang Lexun's words, he blinked, thought for a moment, and then said seriously, use all your strength, maybe 1/3 at most. After saying that, seeing that Zhang Lexun didn't ask any more questions, Jiang Ming left directly to change clothes, leaving everyone petrified on the spot. You beat me so fiercely just now, with my eldest sister's head pressed down the whole time, but in the end, you said that you only used at most 1/3 of your strength? Fuck me, a plant. After a rough look, Zhang Lexun has the highest voice, so Zhang Lexun is tentatively determined to be the main heroine. However, because of Zhang Lexun's relationship with Bibai, her emotional line needs to be longer, and her feelings must be slowly turned around through events. As for other heroines, There should be other heroines depending on the situation, but Zhang Lexun is the main heroine and that will not change. This feeling is more of a compromise. End of this chapter. Chapter 100 Triple Increase. Suddenly yuppie. While Jiang Ming went to change clothes, in the assessment area, both the regular team members and the reserve team members, after a brief period of petrification, instantly burst out with amazing enthusiasm. They whispered to each other, expressing the extremely shocking feelings in their hearts. Jiang Ming has not appeared in everyone's field of vision for the past 2 years. It is really a shock to their cognition that he has made such great progress. After hesitating for a long time, Li Ming made this decision. It is undoubtedly a very honorable thing to represent Shrek Academy in the Continental Senior Soul Master Elite Competition. Participating in this level of competition as a regular member will be very beneficial to his future development. And that will be a glorious experience in life. After all, for so many years, almost all the champions of the continent's Senior Soul Master Elite Competition have been on Shrek Academy's side. Going there is almost like booking a spot on the championship team. Li Ming didn't want to give up this opportunity, but in their main selection team, he was the weakest. Rather than wait for Jiang Ming to come back and let the eldest sister or even Mr. Zhuan speak out, it would be better for him to withdraw himself. When Zhang Lexun heard Li Ming's words, she wanted to say something, but she still couldn't. Shrek Academy itself is a place where the strong are respected. Jiang Ming's strength cannot even be defeated by her as the captain, so he must have a place in the regular team members. The number of people for the continent-wide Senior Soul Master Elite Competition is also fixed and cannot be changed. If someone comes in, someone must come out. There is no way around it. Mr. Zhuan nodded and said nothing more. This kind of thing is survival of the fittest. There is nothing to say. As for comforting someone who is already 20 years old, if he still needs to do this, the past few years of studying in the inner courtyard will be in vain. It didn't take long to change clothes. In less than 10 minutes, Jiang Ming put on a new set of inner court disciple clothes and returned to the assessment area. Everyone in the assessment area gathered around Jiang Ming when they saw him coming back. We haven't seen each other for only 2 years, and you, the great demon king, are actually the sole emperor. This is too strong. How on earth do you practice? Oh, your cultivation speed is really incomparable with others. Some people were amazed, and some people sighed. Period. Especially those in the reserve team. It was obvious that 3 years ago, Jiang Ming was still in the first grade with them, taking the freshman assessment together. And now, they are in the 4th grade. Jiang Ming has entered the inner courtyard and defeated the core seeds in the inner courtyard. This gap is too big. Jiang Ming was surrounded by everyone, faced with so many faces and so many questions, and he couldn't answer them for a while. What are you doing? Disperse, Mr. How about you be the captain of this selection? Jiang Ming had just defeated Zhang Lexun, the captain in the main selection. Logically speaking, he could be the captain. But when Jiang Ming heard what Mr. Zhuan said, he quickly waved his hand. Forget it about captain. I don't like being the captain, so let me continue to let my senior sister be the captain. As he said that, he looked at Zhang Lexun aside. I think my senior's ability is enough to be a captain. After all, I am still young and not very familiar with my seniors, so I am not suitable to be a captain. This is what Jiang Ming is saying. Don't look at Zhang Lexun. He was forced to look like that, but Jiang Ming recognized Zhang Lexun's strength very much. Moreover, Jiang Ming himself is a lone wolf-type warrior. If he is asked to command, he may not really have that ability. Every inch is short and every inch is strong, and he was finally liberated from the soul guidance department, and he still does such a tiring job as a captain. Isn't he making himself uncomfortable? That's right. Your kid has been in the inner courtyard for 2 years, but you are probably only familiar with Xiao Tao among the people in the inner courtyard, Mr. Zhuan nodded, and then said, in this way, Xiao Lexun will continue to be the captain, and Jiang Ming will be the vice captain. You guys can coordinate, Mr. Random Capital. Jiang Ming will not go into details. Zhang Lexun's ability is also unparalleled in the inner court. No matter how arranged, the championship of this competition will definitely be determined without much suspense. Soon, the main players were confirmed. Zhang Lexun, Jiang Ming, Zhao Gang, Yu Lier, Chen Wu, Wang Zhuan, Yan Hun. The reserve team members have also been confirmed. Ma Zia Ateo, Dai Yaohen, Guang Yangmo, Ling Lujin, Chen Zifan, Zixi, Yao Haoxun. Actually, Diu Heng was very unconvinced about Ma Ateo being the captain. After all, no one knew him before. But after Ma Ateo revealed the evil fire phoenix spirit and displayed 5 spirit rings, no one in the reserve team objected. Even Ling Lujin, whose attributes conflict with Ma Ateo's, did not object. The strong are respected. This is an unchanging law in the Soul Master world. After the personnel were determined, Mr. Zhuan began to train the 2 teams. Although both the main players and the reserve team are very strong this time, it is necessary to train, cooperate and cultivate team chemistry. The fighting method given by Mr. Zhuan to the 2 teams is also very simple, which is to mix and match. The main players and the reserve players are separated and matched, and then they compete. This fighting method allows everyone to get to know their teammates during the battle, which is a way to cultivate tacit understanding. Originally there weren't many problems with this method, but the key was that Jiang Ming's strength was a bit outrageous. But even so, it can't stop Jiang Ming at all. In one game, 2 auxiliary soul masters, Gong Yangmo and Yalir, were assigned to Jiang Ming's team at the same time. At that time, Mr. Zhuan felt that since Jiang Ming lost 2 combat units, the pressure on Zhang Lexun would be much less. But who would have expected that the game ended in less than 5 minutes? Crush all the way. As for why the increase of Jiang Ming's 3rd soul skill Golden Blood, plus the increase of Gong Yangmo, the top auxiliary beast, the martial spirit Rainbow Dragon, plus the increase of Yalir, the Soul King who possesses the auxiliary martial spirit of Jixiao Huan Pekin. When these increases are superimposed, how can it be so exciting? After Gong Yangmo and Yalir used all their soul skill enhancements, and Jiang Ming activated the Golden Blood, their strength increased 3 to 4 times. Jiang Ming's own strength is terrifying enough. If it were doubled 3 or 4 times, it would still be a slap in the face. In this state, Jiang Ming, in terms of speed, strength, and soul power, has directly reached the 7th ring Soul Saint or even higher. When you hit the opponent, you will basically be injured by just a scratch, and you will quit immediately after being hit. No one can survive a single move. The other people in the team didn't even have the chance to take action, and all of them fell down. Even Mr. Zhuan could only remain silent after reading it, and then said, "Cruel." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.